Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is September 5th, 2024, a Thursday night. Tonight we have our work cut out for us. We are going to be playing 3 hours of neutral identities in modern standard Netrunner, and not once are we going to say something disparaging about it. Difficulty impossible. How's everyone doing? Hey Andre, how you doing? Kat, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Can I talk about it? Kat, the stuff you've been showing off has been really good. I'm super stoked for the future. Jerron, how's it going? Challenge level Prime Cyborg. I gave up hope for a Thursday stream. Why did you give up hope on a Thursday stream? We always do Thursday streams at the same time, which is now. We're not late. I don't know why your hope had to do that. Metro stream, let's go, Tabby. How's it like? It's really good. Do you want to see it? You can see it. It's only a bit gross. Normal, relatively normal. I'm going to be fine. Maddie just asked, did I show off my knee? Yes, I did, and proudly. Sounds like I have an easier evening than you for sure. Oh yeah. We'll talk about it on like more I think level terms, but hopefully you're doing well, Kat. Are you just like working tonight or doing your own work tonight? We've been really busy. I only come here for like glimpses. I'll put that in the timestamp, no worry. We've been really busy recently. We're going to continue to be busy. I think there's going to be some sort of like Métropole Grid upset because I have a whole bunch of parts for a new PC over here, and I honestly don't know what it's going to take to move to a new machine, because obviously you have to build the machine, make it work, and then like if I want to stream on that machine, I have to move my capture card, which is a bit of a work. So if it doesn't work, I have to put it back into this machine. And then I have to set up OBS and then all my other stuff to make sure all my elements are there. Like it seems like an absolute, I wouldn't say Sisyphean, but like so much work to make it exactly like this. So it probably won't be. It'd probably be different. Hey, Deadman, how's it going? What did I miss? What happened to your leg? I think it's been like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, maybe fewer. I fell off a bike into some rocks and I totally obliterated my leg. It was pretty bad and weird, but it's been healing. Everything's been good. Nature's healing. How you doing? Kevin, good evening. How you doing? Homework tonight. Oh, sometimes that's nice. Staying busy Thursday evening, working into the late of the morning. Hello, Mr. Good. Supernaut, how's it going? So we have a deck list of the week, which I think is going to color a bit of what our evening plans are. It's called Ampere sa guerre, which I think means like Ampere, it's going okay. And this went undefeated French nationals. I I don't like when people say this. I think if you want to know how good a deck is, you actually need to know the whole score of both sides of the table. And there's been so many decks posted on NetRunner where it's like undefeated, and then the runner doesn't win any games, which I'm not saying is what this happened. It's just like sometimes it sneaks up on you like that. And it's an Ampere deck, spending 89 influence of Infinity, which is a really small fraction used, honestly. I feel like we're leaving a bit on the table. But it's an Ampere deck, and this is the neutral corp identity that came out in Parhelion, I think. I'm not sure which side it's Midnight Sun or Parhelion. I think it's Parhelion. And it just says you can only have one of each card, and you can't have more than 2 different agenda cards from each corp faction. So each corp faction pick 2 IDs, 2 agendas, which means there actually is a maximum deck size for this. I think the biggest deck you can build is, it depends on how many 3-pointers there are from every faction, but there is a biggest deck size. The runner deck, mind you, that we probably will be touching today, Nova, you can build an infinitely big deck. I don't think there's no limitations on that. Played some EX Rex in Arkham right now in a deck test for the new standalone So Far Fun decks. What's the EX in EX Rex? Rex is like really good. I don't know if you're playing Taboo Rex. I have not played Rex since Dunwich. And in Dunwich, he was clearly so broken and so powerful that I think my play group just said, we're not going to touch him anymore. Maybe you're playing the parallel version, and the parallel version should be a bit more balanced for sure. I think, I don't know. EX is parallel. Okay, there you go. So it's the parallel version, which I forget exactly what it is. I think it sounds more nuanced. I'm pretty sure you can play like cursed cards and not blessed cards, which is really funny because that character is inherently a bit of a cursed dude. But I don't know. Ban Rex, Kyle, tell him. Ban Rex for sure. My corp deck in Montreal wasn't undefeated, therefore Ampere is better. Yeah, it might be. It could be. It does get to play every single really good card. I still need an Edge of the Earth Iron Man Guardian. Huh. You're playing it as the fighter, right, Kat? Guardian for fighting. I think it was suggested to play the what's his name? The leader, the expedition leader who can play all the dogs. That one's really fun in Edge of the Earth. I think, have you played Edge of the Earth? Like, do you want some spoilers? Lockmanos, that's what happened when our group 2. My buddy played Rex in Dunwich and we've never played him again. Yeah. On that note, there's other characters I think from Dunwich that I just have never played again. Like is her name? What's the name of the Kichi? What's the name of the mystic? I've never felt like I needed to play her. She just comes in with more charges. Akichi? Fuck, I don't know her name. Lots of running around. Okay, so a big Edge of the Earth thing. I've played too many Mystics. Leo. Yeah, it is Leo. I'm thinking of Leo. So one of the big things about Edge of the Earth that you might know, small spoilers if you want to tune out for 1 second, is that there isn't, that like you don't need as much fighting in the final confrontation. Like certain campaigns, there is like a final boss that you have to toe-to-toe. That's not exactly in Edge of the Earth. So you can get away with somebody who's like good at spot fighting, but not like mass damage fighting. Let's just check really quickly. Let's get the Arkham Tangent out at the beginning. Arkham DB. I might never play Kohaku again, so I don't have to count Blessed Curse tokens. In our current play group, one of our players is playing Kohaku, and it's like, I don't think it's exactly spinning up to the power level. Like, we're not seeing Kohaku do really cool stuff, but it is as fiddly as you and I know and fear, and it is probably not like, I don't know. I think it's a bit rough. Leo Anderson playing the bar, the big bullet gun. Okay, hold on. So I've never played what people call Iron Man, which means that if you do it in one shot, if you die, you die, which is kind of like most Arkham. I don't know what the difference is. Type investigators. Type investigator. We can see what we have. Yo, Jen, how's it going, man? I can't tell you're super excited for the Ampere with this Arkham Tangent. Hold on. Okay. So if you need a fight, who can you play? Let's go full cards, search. All right, Carolyn's not exactly what you were looking for a couple reasons. Carson's probably not what you're looking for. I find Daniela Reyes to be okay, but Daniela basically becomes a survivor, which is really strange. Daniela actually is the sort of, like, we haven't seen a I want to get hurt Guardian, I don't think ever. And there's a lot of cards in the card pool that you'd actually be excited to play in Daniela. Things like Armor of Ardanes and brother, whatever, Javier, I think his name is. And Daniela just can't play him, which is unfortunate because Daniela becomes a survivor. It's like sometimes a bit of a whiplash to be like, oh, I have so many cool ideas for Daniela and you can't play half of them. Leo's really cool. Leo's a pretty balanced stat line. Agility does actually matter a fair bit on ice, as you might expect, but Leo's just kind of fun. Allies, I think there are a bunch of treacheries that hurt allies. Not surprising, most things do. Edge of the Earth. Mark is always good. Mark Harrigan, can't go wrong with Mark Harrigan. Nacho is really fun. Roland Banks, I worry sometimes about playing a 5. Parallel Roland, I don't think there's a lot of humanoids, which I think I care about when I play Parallel Roland. Sister Mary's okay. She's not bad. If you have other like Mystic, or sorry, not Mystic, ever Bless support, she's fine. She's fun. She's okay. Tommy Muldoon is also good and interesting. He kind of feels like a worse version of what's his face, of Mark, except you can do some weird item synergy stuff and just beat some people up. I think Wilson Richards is just kind of really boring and a bit of a failure. Zoe's always good. Parallel Zoe's always good. You can't go wrong with Zoe. And I think that's what my recommendations would be. Leo's really cool with the big guns since he can get all the support cards, because he can get all the rogue reload cards, right? I played Danielle in Edge of the Earth and had a blast, especially with fighting being slightly less important. Yeah, you can get away with her because like the fact that she upgrades into rogue means that she doesn't get any of the really good guardian weapons that scale up with experience, because you can only do guardian level 0, right? So generally the bigger you go with survivor, your weapons are a bit more limited, right? Like you're looking at, unfortunately, you can play neutral, right? Can you play neutral cards? No. So you can't play Brand, but maybe you end up playing Chainsaw. I don't know. I don't know. Zoe got a parallel. Zoe's parallel is really fun. It's like really fun. It's a bless-based synergy thing that allows you to add bless anytime you do damage, and then you can take out 3 bless to do an additional damage on an attack. It's just kind of fun. It's just very smooth. Jai, how's it going? Good morning from the future, Mr. Metropole. Where is the Friday ban list like we were promised? Oh shit, it's Friday already. I didn't promise you anything, Jai. I said it could be this Friday, which is today, or it could be next Friday. It could be either. But it's maybe soon. Only realize it's Thursday night and I'm missing Arkham. Lucy, how's it going? We just started with the Arkham Tangent. We'll get back to it. In fact, look at us go. Great news, my NSG packs showed up yesterday. I took them to work today. All the old A&R players came out of the woodwork. Whoa, and now I have plans to play a bunch of Netrunner after work next week. Hell yeah. Are like the older players being like, hey, show me what this is? I didn't know about it. Or did they have an idea of what was going on? Evilon, how's it going? Thursday? No? Do you mean today? Today is technically Thursday, but Jai lives on the other side of the date line. So for him, it's a Friday morning. An Arkham stream sometime could be cool. Yeah, we had plans. I've unfortunately said this a couple times. We had plans to set up a channel called Velma's Diner to do some Arkham content. And we've been a bit busy that it's been hard to do that alongside all the Netrunner content that we've been working on. I do think, and I have high hopes, that building the machine that we're building this weekend, PC, will mean we can attach 2 PCs together and have a better time streaming Arkham content. Not so much tabletop stuff, but like stuff through Tabletop Simulator, which is what I did last time on the channel. There is I think some pretty good Arkham content on this channel, barring the fact that there was a very important rules mistake, but I don't want to talk about it. But that actually could be coming out sooner than later, which will help. But it's just been too busy. I've honestly been like doing a good enough job doing one thing is hard. So doing 2 things is harder, especially when I know people support the channel financially and expect something out of it. Like it's hard for me to be like, I'm going to half-ass this. I don't want to do that. Meether just said, I don't know what that means. How's it going, Meether? That means Jai gets the ban list even earlier and can smuggle it out. That's how time zones work. There's a chance that Jai already has it and isn't telling us because he's not allowed to. Hey, Jinx says, welcome. Hey, Andre, I'm a new player. Sometimes in your streams, you talk about certain ice being good or bad for specific servers. How do you think about ice positioning? That's a great question. Let's talk about that really quickly. So there's probably some StimHack article back in the day that has taught me and many other players about a term in Netrunner, or 2 terms in Netrunner that we talk about when we decide what ice is. I'm going to go to some old cards. I'm going to dig out some cards that are not exactly meta relevant, but they're a nice way to talk about it, okay? So there's 2 kinds of ice in the game. One kind of ice in the game, there's arguably more than 2, but 2 is a nice way to compartmentalize them. Please ask questions if you have questions. There's certain kind of ice in the game that a lot of people call as gear check ice. And these are ice like Palisade that on face check, which is the term of a runner running into it and not knowing what it is and the subroutines resolving if they don't have the breaker or choose not to break it. These are ice that basically exists to check your opponent, to check the runner, whether they have the correct gear to pass that. So the Palisade will always end the run unless the runner has their Fractor installed. Now, this is a gear check ice. And there's a good use for gear check ice because there is a certain amount of ice, a certain amount of things that you need to put in the remote server at a point in time where the runner cannot run through it. This is mostly the early to mid game in Netrunner. This is something that might be more pronounced if you play like a limited format. So something where people have less consistent decks sometimes. I like gear check ice on limited format, but sometimes you just need ice like this that ends the run. The big idea if you're asking yourself what is in remote servers, sometimes there's agendas, there's upgrades, there's assets, but oftentimes when there's an agenda, it goes into the remote server. So when the runner is running the remote server, there is periods of time in the game where they have a 100% chance if they can break into the remote server that they can steal an agenda. That's a good time for a gear check because that means your agenda is obviously safe if they can't get through the palisade. But let's look at another card, right? Let's look at Tithe, also from System Gateway. I actually kept this hopefully approachable. This is Tithe. And Tithe is really cheap. It's actually very good. You pay 1 credit to get 2 subroutines that are relevant. That's a really good price to ratio for what you get as a corporation. But obviously Tithe doesn't end the run. So this is what a lot of people would call a taxing ice. And the idea is that Tithe is something that you generally don't want to be scoring your agendas behind, because if the runner thinks there's an agenda in their remote server, because sometimes there is an agenda in their remote server, they can just say, I'm going to run through it. I don't care. No, obviously there's parts of this conversation in which you have to understand that like there are some strategies in which putting an agenda behind a Tithe does make sense for your more niche win condition. But in the abstract, 90% of the time, you want to be scoring your agendas behind something that is not a Tithe. Now, we talked about the remote server having an agenda in it 100% of the time on certain turns, but if I have one agenda in HQ or agendas in R&D, generally the runner's chance of finding an agenda on a central server on any individual run is about 20%, give or take, depending on board state and how the game is going. That can obviously go up or down. But the idea is that these taxing guys that don't strictly end the run are better on central servers. Because the idea is that the runner has to run through that Tithe on average 5 times to find an agenda. So we make up for the fact that breaking this is more expensive on average, or going through this on average is more painful, that the 5 times that they have to go through this for some amount of benefit kind of makes up for it. And that's a really big thing. Let's look at System Gateway really quickly, but System Gateway has a great mix of what I would call taxing ice and gear check ice. And it's up to you. And mind you, this is a bit of a paintbrush. There's a gradient. There's some ice that are both taxing and gear check. There's some that are neither, but that is the short of the long of it. There's a lot of ice that I'll put in certain places because some stuff doesn't end the run. It's just annoying. I put the annoying stuff on centrals, and stuff that ends the run usually goes on the remote server. Now, it's not, again, black and white. Some decks, it's harder to determine what is and what isn't, remote check and stuff like that. Let's talk about System Gateway really quickly, right? I'm going to catch up on chat in a second. So in System Gateway, Brawn is one of your best ice. Because sure, technically it's not a gear check ice because the runner can click through it. So that makes it, in theory, a really taxing ice. But the runner can't spend their whole turn running through your Brawn on the remote server. And you could put something in the remote server maybe every other turn. That's a really good ice for me that I want to put on the remote server. Or if I'm expecting a conduit, I'll put it on R&D because it's one of the best ice you can get in System Gateway. It's just really big and there's no good way to break it cheaply. Now, on-sell is similar to that, but on-sell doesn't end the run. So if I want to put something on a remote server, I'd rather put the Brawn because it will keep the runner out. It does say end the run, or I'd rather have it on-sell on HQ or on R&D. Because yeah, they can go through it if they really try, but it's gonna suck to go through it. If they spend their whole turn clicking through the on-sell to go touch what's on top of R&D and spend their whole turn to get a single access, I'm feeling okay about it. Same thing with Karuna. Like Karuna is not something I often put on the remote server because it doesn't end the run, but it is annoying on central servers. And if the runner just lets it fire, that's great. Funhouse is interesting because it's a mixture. Sometimes it is annoying enough to go through the Funhouse that they just can't continue to pay the tags, but it is the sort of ice I'd put on central servers. While cards like Pharaohs are good on your remote server. You got a triple advanced ice on a remote server, that's phenomenal. And generally, if you ask me in System Gateway, there's not a huge incentive to put a massive ice on HQ because there's not that many cards that run HQ and like ruin the game for you. But that's the short of the long. I think a lot of decks get more nuance, and some of that comes down to what you're expecting from your opponent. So say you're playing in standard, you're playing against a criminal, and you think a criminal is going to come down with a diversion of funds that's going to run HQ and steal your money and give it to them. That is something that you're worth playing around to get an early end the run ice on HQ. So it's a bit more complicated than that, but I think understanding the difference between taxing ice and gear check ice is going to do good for you. And I think System Gateway does a good job at encouraging you to understand that kind of organically. The fact that Palisade is good on a remote, but shit on centrals, tells you you probably shouldn't be putting Palisade on central servers where it's 2 strength. Put it on the remote server. Get them to find their breaker because you have agendas you're putting in the remote server. It was a super helpful overview. My pleasure. Welcome to the game. Hopefully you're having a great time. Let me catch up on chat because I know there's more questions, but I'll come back down from that. Jai has the ban list. Everyone DM Jai. Ask for it. I learned fully into the force enemies to hit you and fight them back game plan, which is really refreshing as a playstyle. I totally forgot we were talking about Arkham for a second. Running like Survival Knight, Fangle of Jinxes, and Aquina. I think Aquina is the only time I felt good about playing Aquina is in Daniela, which is really cool. Oh, it was a Metropole Grid joke. City Stick Lattice. Oh, I did not get it at all. Me theory. Been trying to keep guys Red Steve list. Been fun. I think I saw you play that against Ba. Ba and Brandon were playing on Monday. Maybe it was a Tuesday. It was like a different time. They all knew about NSG, but most haven't played in recent years. One guy even name dropped your channel when talking about content creators. Let's go. Our global reach. Every time someone calls Tremolo Blue Cleaver, I crack up a little. Who says that? I wish the deck had a better win con than make their credits 0 and Wake Dig, since Corpse can escape credit hole sometimes. I do think from what I played that deck, Meteor, that I wanted a bit more multi-axis. Like, I wanted more than just a Wake. I probably wanted 2 Wakes, because I felt like you needed a way to transition. I think in the matchup that I watched you play against Brandon and Ba, I think if you did the divide by 5 number, you should have known there was probably more agendas in HQ, and you could have just sent it HQ, which is eventually how they crept around you. But that's a hard thing to call sometimes when you're running HQ and missing, for sure. Score out behind a gear check versus Shaper before. I've scored out behind a gear check versus Shaper before. Oh yeah, I don't know if I have. Yeah, sometimes it's hard. It's hard. The bottom of the ice of your scoring remote server should always say end the run. Yeah, you're hoping it does. There's definitely something to be said about like having a palisade and then putting something annoying in front of it. Like in front of the palisade, you put the on-cell, because then they still have to deal with the on-cell, but then they still have to deal with the palisade. So like, again, this is more of an art than a science, but classically, that's how a lot of people were taught, that ice positioning is important on that. Again, when it comes to things like the fact that you understand in System Gateway that Brawn is your one good ice, you learn where to put it. Because it's really hard, I think, in System Gateway to score out on a remote server if one of those ice is not a Brawn, just because there's not a lot of great ice in System Gateway. Turn 1, I want a cheap ice that says end the run to put in a remote server to put Rashida Yahim behind it. Gear check ice that speeds up your game plan is the best early ice. Stuff like Gatekeeper, Tattoo Bola. Yeah, those ice are really, really good. Very, 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 very good. Deck of the week is on Ampere. Andre starts swearing. I did not curse once, Kevin. Did I? I was shouting at my screen for you to trash the Trank Grid. Yeah, that was another thing. The Trank Grid was exactly all the money they needed. Yeah, I whiffed a couple singles in Dockland, so I thought they were droughting, especially since they scored 2 agendas. I assumed they didn't have the third one. I think one of the big tells is when you're watching an Ace group deck and like it's click 1 draw, like they clearly don't have what they want to push in a remote server. The more you see an HB deck click to draw, the more likely they are having a bit of a situation in HQ, if you want to call it that. I'm just very, no, Meteor, don't say that. Corpse can score out. When did that get added? Oh man. I thought I could leave it to steal more money later since I thought they would flop out of the credit hole. System Gateway is slow enough that you can absolutely triple a Pharaohs and it's probably the best ice. Brawn is close though. Okay, cool. In System Gateway, yeah, maybe you can. I think you're right that Pharaohs at 10 strength is just an absolute nightmare in the format, but my game plan is generally when I play Gateway, like I'm playing Seamless Launch, I'm going a bit faster than that, but I could see it. I could definitely see it. You have Anoetic though in the format. I think that's good. What kind of ice do you value the most on turn 1, or does it depend? It depends on your deck that you're playing and what your play style is. I think Kat mentioned the thing that's honestly the most common play in Standard right now for a lot of players. There's some really good cards to put in a remote server on turn 1, and for almost every ID, Rashida Yahim is the best card to put in a remote server on turn 1, which means ideally you're looking for a card to protect Rashida on turn 1 that you can afford to res, and bonus points if it has some sort of nasty face check ability. So one of the cool cards right now, has been for a long time, is Gatekeeper. If you res it on that turn, it's 6 strength, and that might not matter on turn 1 where they're not going to break a 6 strength code gate, but allows you to draw 3 more cards and filter your HQ if you really want to be shuffling agendas away, and that's great. Getting an early Ablative Barrier, fine. Like, it sucks to res that early, but anything cheap is okay. There's a lot of factions right now. I think every single faction besides maybe Jinteki and arguably NBN, if they put something in a remote server on turn 1, you want to face check it. Because the worst case scenario, if you run the remote server against Wayland, it's like, oh, you resed a border control for functionally 3 credits. Like, that's good. You just want to force them to res ice, and it's really important to res ice. But Rashida turn 1 is like almost always the best corp opening. Sometimes I do like, if I'm playing HB, to do Tranquility turn 1 and ice it up to see if it eats a pinhole threading or an inside job or whatever is meta dependent, because often if they expend a resource on turn 1 to try and deal with the Rashida, they can't afford to trash a Trank for 4. And then if the Trank sticks, then I'll push the Rashida the following turn. So Gatekeeper Howard. As an NBN player, please face check turn 1. Yeah, don't do it. It's not great. NBN is like kind of cursed how hard it is to face check it. Pharos is the only ice that can tax out a runner in System Gateway. Penny Shaver and Fermenter produce way too much money. Yeah, but the breakers are limited, right? Like, I don't know what Fractor you're happy about playing in System Gateway. Right, like Cleaver needs support. You can purge out Leech. I don't know the other Fractors in the format. What's the other Fractor in the format? Marjana? Trank, Ice, Rashida, and a leftover click for Asa? Yeah, Thanos. I would do Rashida Managarm, but as soon as you do Rashida and an upgrade, firstly, they can't pinhole. It's a 50-50. Some people will send it, but they also have to imagine that maybe it's not Trank. Maybe they think it's Managarm Rashida, which is a really nice way to get your Rashida off. So that's pretty good. Yeah, Botchless is good. Botchless is really good. I think I've played Anarch decks in System Gateway that don't run a killer, that just run Botchless, and I think it's good enough. There's just not a lot of sentries that you have to care about in the format. For a whole package, PD Skunk Void is the strongest thing in System Gateway by a big margin, but ignoring the rest of the support package, Pharos is marginally stronger. Yo, in modern startup that doesn't have access to pinhole threading, how good is Managarm Skunkworks? And Anoetic? I imagine it's incredibly good. We don't talk about Marjana? We should. Marjana's cool. Skunk Void PD is literally a world champion deck. It's so good. But Cat, everyone's been saying it's bad. I'm kidding. Everyone thinks it's good. It's fine. Speaking of that, where are they? Ampere? Where are you with? Anyways, Tycoon? Yeah, not on Gateway. Daijin, Tycoon saw unironic play for a moment, and it's just likely because it was mostly because you're playing an AI and you needed a way to deal with wraparound. So people did play Tycoon. It's not the worst idea. Also, mind you, pad tap was a thing. I'll show Tycoon. Tycoon is really silly if you have seen it for the first time. It is a really good Fractor in terms of numbers and cost, and 2 for 3 is okay. But when you use it, the corp gains money. Oops. They cranked. Tycoon is good in exactly knives. Yeah. I think arguably now, I was not again playing Tycoon in knives decks. Like, there were reasons to play Tycoon. It's not unplayable. It's like, I wouldn't play it unless I had a reason to, but it's kind of cool. I played it before in Amakua lists. Hey Joe, I was okay about Marjana until I needed to break a gold farmer, but I couldn't afford to click runner first. Yeah, it looks like it wasn't there. Yeah, Not Again was playing 1 copy Tycoon. Yeah, Marjana's a bit more work, I think. Skunk Void is the second best corp deck in startup right now after BTL punitive clearinghouse decks. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Tycoon is actually a reasonable breaker until the first time you run into a Tattoo Bullet, then you start questioning your life choices. And when you break a Tattoo Bullet and they gain 6 credits. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good. At least you can Amakua it easily, but yeah, that's definitely an option. Marjana is what, like 1 strength, and then it's 2 for 1, if not 1 for 1. It's a cool idea for a card. By the way, folks in chat, any specific alts you want to see at Worlds? Cat's been asking this question because they've been working on some pretty sick alt arts. So there's some really cool stuff if you want some suggestions. You're right to put in the S of your tier list. Yeah. It's good. It's really, really good. It's only going to be better too. And the fact that it's now saying consistent play out of faction and making interesting decision points where like there's a lot of runs where I run into a Tattoo Bowl and it'd be like, I've done enough for today. I'm going to walk away. End of the line altard, please. That's a good choice. As much as Cranked, you added Restream Bot, which is a faux pas. Does the good doctor have an alt? Cat has already done a Spin Doctor alt art. It's great. Null Signal Games has not done a Spin Doctor alt art, which is surprising. But it is a common community alt art as well. Ari Frog. Cat, have you done IDs, Cat? I feel like, Cat, you did a freedom once. I might be wrong about that. Maybe a kit too, right? I think like hitting a tattoo to make you realize you don't care about the run of the so it's good right learning moment. When you dirty laundry the tattoo bowl and you're like, do I care about this? I don't know. I'm an artist and I've been drinking. I'll at anyone I want. Oh no. Happy Thursday nights, Cranked. Skunk Void is being held back by a runner meta that's largely consists of sitting back and being unfathomably rich to only contest the remote at key times because that's what the decks do to beat BTL. Oh, that sounds fun. I'm looking forward to our good startup week later this month. Is there a place to see alt art? Sort of, kind of. It's not like an exhaustive place. I don't know if you're actually asking about like Cat specifically. Cat has Keysra Make Playing Cards. Cat has a store on Make Playing Cards. Make Playing Cards runs very poorly, and I don't think Cat has been updating this. But there are cards up here. It is relatively updated. So there are some stuff here. If you like frogs, I would recommend looking at an NPC LA. Yeah, an NPC LA. It's this weekend, coming up on the 7th. We had to send out some fermenters for extra support. They did get in on time. I was pretty stressed about that, but that gets in. So this hasn't been updated for a while, but you can see in very low resolution the Spin Doctor alt art. I have this whole set. I think they're great. Fencer Fueno getting all the love that she deserves. Feels bad. It's fine. Kat, I think one of the alt arts that you put in the Discord reminds me a lot of the Cat alt art. I think it's like the exact same pose. Did you talk about your VTM Rivals experience? I've been interested in the game. Rohit, man, do we want to do another tangent? I was expecting to do it on stream today because Pat was meant to join us in person because it's the first of the month. However, Pat is feeling a bit under the weather. So firstly, wish Pat well. Hopefully he'll be better soon. We might have him next week. Can we have, let's do a Vampire Rivals tangent really quickly. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll do it really quickly. Vampires Rivals. I was just going to search tangent. Vampire Rivals is a board game. It's published by Renegade Games. It's about 3 years old. It is one of these like expandable card games. So it has expansions. When you buy expansions, you get all the play sets of the cards. So not dissimilar to Netrunner. It is a game that you can play 2 players. You can play 4 players. It is kind of loosely based off of the engine of Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, originally named Jihad, a game that was also made by Richard Garfield, the same guy who made Netrunner, previous to Netrunner. I think it was like 1991 to 93, while Netrunner was like 96, if I'm not mistaken. So it was one of his earlier things, post-Magic, but before everything else. And the very interesting thing about Vampire Rivals, or Vampire: Eternal Struggle in general, is that it is much better at a non-2-player game. I think you actually can play a lot of players, like an 8-player game when you're playing Eternal Struggle. Vampire Rivals goes up to 4 players, best at 4, they say, 97%, 91%, can't be wrong. And the short of the long is when you sit down at the table, you draw tokens, and your token tells you who your prey is, which means your win condition of the game is to knock out a single person at the table, but it's not a mirror. They'll have a different prey. That person will have a different prey. And then by result, that person will be you as their prey. So there's always somebody you're running away from, but then there's always somebody that you're chasing, and your goal is to eliminate them. And if you do eliminate your prey, you win the game, which is really interesting because the game is not all about combat. From my understanding, combat's only like a third of it, if not less, in current like organized competitive play, which I don't know much about. There's not a lot of content about Vampire Rivals online, but the game has a lot of social elements, just like the same way Eternal Struggle had a lot of social elements. So there's ways that you can interact that call votes. So people spend their influence to votes, and then there's things called conspiracies where you can show cards to people, and if they support it, when the conspiracy resolves, other people won't be affected by it. So it's a game about like physical dominance, about like getting into the streets and controlling the city and holding titles, but also it's a super social thing. And the idea that the friend of your friend or the enemy of your enemy is your friend, like that comes up a lot in very cool social ways, which was very exciting. I own a lot of Vampire Rivals. I've just been collecting it kind of habitually, which is maybe a thing I need to think about how I handle myself, but I haven't played a lot of it. Maddie and I played 1v1 games, which the game does support, but it's lacking many elements, as much as I do think you can make interesting 1v1 decks abstractly. I've heard that. But generally you want to be playing it as 4 players. So last weekend we sat down with myself, with Pat, my lovely partner Maddie, and John, Canadian National Netrunner champion, and we finally got down to play Vampire Rivals. I put on all black and put on some eyeliner. Maddie dressed up. John had a cape. Pat just put on a black t-shirt, and we played some games. And we played the core set decks. It is a deck building game with deck building rules, but if you play the core set pre-con decks, you basically have a clan, which are the sort of like vampire, like Eternal Struggle clans, like the Malkavians, the Ventru, the Bruja, that have been around for like 30 years now, and that's what your deck focuses on. We picked, I wouldn't say randomly, what people wanted. So Maddie, who I was her prey, played the Bruja, who are very violent people. They're the anarchs. They're just out there punching stuff, lighting stuff on fire, throwing Molotovs. They're like a problem. And her agenda, mind you, this is a cool thing about the game too, is that not only do you build the deck, but you pick both a Haven card and an agenda card. A Haven card tells you where your vampires are hanging out, and it gives you some ability, ongoing ability, or a leader ability that your leader has that active thing. But also you have an agenda card. And the agenda card, always, all the agenda cards say if you get 13 agenda points, you win, but they also tell you how you get agenda points. So each deck at the table has a different way of winning the game. You always win if you eliminate your prey, but all these decks at the table had a different win condition, which is kind of hard to like measure, as much as we all know that on 13 everybody wins. Game sounds sick, you pick your agenda cards. So I'm playing, I'm going to say it right, the Ventru. And the Ventru are like some sort of old money people that are about like reigning the politics behind the scenes. I don't know too much about the Vampire Eternal Struggle world, besides my brother and I played the Blood Hunt, what's it called? Battle Royale a fair bit. It was free to play. I don't know if it still exists. It's a lot of fun. And so my agenda said I get 2 victory points anytime one of my vampires attaches a title. So I'm like, wait a second. And then I realized I have all these cards that like use my titles to basically brute force votes. And I had all these cards that just say, I have a vote, that if the vote succeeds, I gain more victory points, or I can force people into the streets, or I can banish people. And I just became somebody controlling politics at the table. And that was uniquely a thing I could do. I could just roll through votes, and everyone else at the table had to work together, because if I got titles, it was great. To the left of me were the who are obsessed with fame and like fashion and publicity. And so John's vampire goal was to go out into the streets and basically get an army of thralls. In short, find the people of Los Angeles, bite them, and make them yours. And the more people he had in his crowd, the more agenda points he got out. So he was meant to go out there and be social and build this army and get this like population behind him. Patrick very fantastically got the Malkavians. From what I understand, they're the ones that are the most unhinged and a pretty wacky and weird people. They have the broken mirror as their symbol, and he was all about conspiracies. So anytime a conspiracy went off, he would get victory points. So he was just trying to get conspiracies to happen all the time. And conspiracies are cards that you put face down on the table, and on your turn you can choose to show them to someone at the table. And if they look at it, they can support the conspiracy, which costs them a very valuable resource that they do want to only have a fixed limit of. But once a conspiracy has enough counters on it, you can reveal the conspiracy, and a bad thing will happen to anyone who did not support it. And Pat, because I was trying to get down Pat was my prey, I was out of the loop on all of these things. And so Pat was constantly doing conspiracies, and bad things were happening to me. We were discarding cards, and he just kept having this absolute joy of being like, hey, Maddie, do you want to see the conspiracy? Oh, man, he's like, that looks good, I'll support it. Hey, John, do you want to see the conspiracy? John's like, oh, that looks like a problem, I'll support it. And he's also kind of basically like brute forcing, or strong arming, excuse me, people to support his conspiracies, because if you don't, the bad thing will happen to you. And I just keep eating these conspiracies, and it was fun. It was really fun that he wanted to do that. And then, of course, Maddie are the Bruja, and the Bruja basically say anytime someone bleeds, get points. Just kind of knock people around, and that was great fun. It was our learning game, so we learned a bit. It ended up in a way that I wouldn't say is actually anticlimactic, but it was pretty interesting. I played this card eventually. I was kind of getting these titles, and I was setting up. My votes were starting to be a bit more one-sided, and I was controlling the politics. There was like a couple face-down conspiracies, and I was super worried that some of the conspiracies would hit me in my influence, or I think they're called influence. I think that's one of the currencies. I think it's called influence, whatever the main currency is called. And I played a card that was a bit of a gamble. It was this ongoing card that says when you put this face up on the table, you can put as much influence as you want on it, but whatever amount you put on it, the game will double it. And at the beginning of the turn, you dare to take 1 influence off of it, like a pad campaign. And I went down a bit too low. I went down to my last 2 influence. I think it's called influence. It might not be. And Pat had a conspiracy that knocked my last 2 influence out, which removed me from the game, which causes the end of the game. At that point, technically Pat didn't win. Maddie won because her rival got knocked out, which gives her 3 victory points, and then technically she had 7 victory points, and she was the winner. It was way more fun than that sounds. We were happy to end the game early because it was a bit of a learning game. So we're like, okay, let's play the first hour. We made some mistakes, and then Pat's like, I'm going to end the game now so we can have dinner, and then we'll play a second game. We didn't get to the second game yet, which I think we will. But overall, we had a great time. We had like a surprisingly good time. All parts of the game were at full force. The conspiracies, the vampires fighting in the streets. The cool thing about the game too is there's a thing called a city deck. So this is like an organized play thing to some extent. But when you buy the core set, it comes with a deck of cards that are all from the city of San Francisco, Worlds 2024. And every turn you reveal the top card of the San Francisco deck, and then there's the people on the streets of San Francisco, the special assignment division, the people who are hunting vampires, those are a problem. And then there's also like ongoing city events, like a breakout from Alcatraz, or the cable cars broke down, or Chinese New Year, and stuff goes on that affects the whole table. And every day or every turn, the first person draws a card and the city kind of expands and lives. What's fascinating is this game has seasons. So eventually, like a year in, the next big box the game came out, it's a new city, We're now in Prague, and now you have to play for organized play with the Prague city deck, which produces its own set of problems and own issues that are kind of unique to Europe. Modernly, not dissimilar to Netrunner, we're in Rio, we're in Brazil. And currently, from my understanding online, the Brazil city deck is one of the most interesting because they've had 3 years to design and perfect the game. That it's a deck that's actually much more friendly to all kinds of play styles and is a bit more interesting, and you can bounce off of it. Overall, quite neat, a lot of cool elements. The rules are not the easiest to understand. The old rule book kind of shit. Luckily I had the good new rule book, which is a bit more organized. I think there's some things that are unintuitive. I think the formatting of the cards isn't perfect. Art is pretty inconsistent. They have some of that old 90s art from Vitesse, which is kind of ugly but in a charming 90s way, and I would 100% do it again. I had a great time. I'm really excited because we own a shit ton of Vampire Rivals and we played very little of it. I think it's hard for 4 people to sit down that all know the rules of the game because it is like not an easy pick up and play as much as the teach was fast. Hella cool. I'd do it again. I'd definitely do it again. I'm upset we didn't play your second game. We just got sat down, had a nice dinner, thanks John, and just kind of hung out and talked for the whole evening and had a great time regardless, but I'd do it again for sure. Do you know who's hunting you? Yeah, it's all public information. And you cannot get into a loop where 2 people have each other, so it's a closed circuit. Always it'll be like a circuit. Yeah, a full circuit if I'm not mistaken. You pick your just I pick Luminal. I wish I could get my friends to cosplay for game night. It was like one of the things that Maddie was very sure on. She's like, we're gonna go play vampires and we're gonna go dress up. And I'm like, hell yeah, we is. It was great. It was really, really great. Can there be multiple winners in each game? No. The worst case scenario is you hit tiebreaker, and I forget what the tiebreaker is, but there's a tiebreaker. But if your rival's defeated and you've defeated your rival, you just win. Otherwise, if a rival's defeated, the person who has them as their foe gains 3 victory points, and then you just do a victory point check. A difference from Vitesse is that it was a game that played until last player standing. So if there's 4 people at the table and 1 got eliminated, the rival situation, you just took on the foe of the person you defeated, and then you kept playing till there's only 1 person left. Sometimes that can take a really, really long time, but at least for rivals, when 1 person's out, the game is over, so it's not awkward, which I imagine is a benefit. Dressing up for a VTM game night sounds excellent. Yeah, shout out, mind you, to John. Am I going to find it? Twitch.tv RPG Clinic. I haven't watched enough of this, but John streams on Sundays at RPG Clinic, and him and his partner and his friends, they all do streaming in the World of Darkness. They do the werewolf side of stuff. So if you want to watch John, you don't have to watch this ad, I don't think. If you want to watch John do some role playing in that universe, of which I don't know much of, but they're doing the werewolf side of it, which is all called the Universe of Darkness or something like that. You can watch some pretty cool live streaming on RPG Clinic. The last expansion for Vampire Rivals that just came out yesterday is actually with these werewolves. So you can choose to play a werewolf in a world of vampires. Notably too, this guy here who's playing Dante, that is Scott. He's a local, known him for a long time. He voiced Rex Murphy in the Arkham Horror video game that recently come up. This guy is technically Rex Murphy. Everyone here is lovely, really nice people. Okay, I'm gonna catch up on chat. Rivals was great in the beginning, but as more expansions came out and became more and more obvious the designers have never worked on a competitive card game before. There's a lot of erratas in the game. Some of the rules look really kludgy. I don't think they could do a great job explaining the erratas. They also have like weird promos that are tournament legal that you can only get at tournaments unless you buy directly from their store, which is not reasonable as a Canadian. It seems a bit like a mess. Like, I don't think I would play an organized play and get involved at a competitive level, but as a game to like play with my friends with the pre-constructed decks seems great. I think I'd do it again. You can get separate closed loops of prey. I don't think it's possible with 4 players. I don't think it is mathematically possible. London, how's it going? I played this in a 4-player game of, it's fun. It's not Netrunner, but solid. Oh, cool. I didn't know you played it. Okay, I'm caught up on chat, I think. Pat gets sick after communing with other vampires. Okay. Game sounds interesting. Have you played with many of the expansions? Do you feel it's better with expansions? I've played with 0 of the expansions. Besides the time that I played with Maddie 1v1, I got an expansion that let her be the vampire called the Gangrels, which is a clan that communes with animals and can talk to animals. So she became the cat lady and had a great time. And I played the Gangrels, which are sewer people that are too ugly to walk among the living during the day, so they just do gross sewer stuff, and they're really fun. But that's the only expansion we played. We played 1v1, and 1v1 is probably not how you should be playing this game. But the expansions look really interesting. They got really complicated. Like, you can play as humans that are hunting monsters, and they have the whole rule set, but they can play at the same table. I don't know if it works well. I've not played enough of this game. How obvious is the person that chases you're chasing? Totally obvious. It's open information. You know it before you draw your opening hand. Tina, it's cool to hear. I've heard this stuff. sitting. I've had the stuff sitting since the Kickstarter, and I've never had anyone interested in playing. I'll have to push this to get to the table. Give it a shot. I would do it with 4 players, but like, very cool. Very, very fun. The Drew Tucker art got ditched after the first 2 expansions because of how much the community complained about how bad it was. I think there's like a thread on Board Game Geek being like, what is this Drew Tucker art? And I'm like, it's old Vitas art. Just get over it. It's fun. I don't get it. Halloween game night is great strategy to encourage dressing up for games for sure. Hey, Gyro, how's it going? Anyone want to bet if Andre can manage to procrastinate Ampere for... Oh, no, Cat, we're getting into it. Sorry, I just didn't catch up on chat. Played it competitively for the first couple of years, not great. Sorry to hear that, Dungeon Daubers. Seems way more as a board game, less than a card game, yes. 12 minutes until we hit the hour mark. Hey, Fabian, about Arkham, maybe you can check out the new digital solution to play it? Like one of the homebrew ones, because I know a couple of people have been doing homebrew ones, like web client stuff. I've seen a bit on YouTube, but I didn't know if they were available for folks. And I like TTS because I can set up some good extra camera angles for TTS and have a great time. Tell us about Ark Nova. So Ark Nova is a really good... I haven't been able to watch the Ark Nova streams recently. I feel bad. Hearing all those clan names brings me back. I used to play VTM between 95 and 2005. Diogene, what is with this? Montreal, let alone Quebec, was so big into vampires in the 90s. Like just about everyone I know who was old enough to play card games in the 90s who plays or played Netrunner, everyone like literally dressed up as a vampire and went to bars and played vampire card games and RPGs. Like, I don't know why Montreal is so vampire heavy, but like we had really good VTES players back in the day. People just loved it. They really, really liked it. It's a vampire city out here. And for what it's worth, Montreal does show up heavily enough in the lore that I would not be surprised if one season of Vampire Rivals brings you to Montreal, which would be sick. Ark Nova is awesome, and it really is, because VTM is sick. Yeah, but like, I think it's more concentrated here than anyone else. Speaking of art, what's your favorite? What do you mean, art in general? What art do I like? My hometown was weirdly a big VTM scene as well. It gets his claws in. Yeah, let's go. I did live action vampire. There was a LARP werewolf scene in Montreal. I think a lot of folks who did Netrunner got into that stuff too. That's sick. Like the LARPing vampire stuff, there was so much of it from my understanding. Maybe it's the weather, cold northern vamps. Left for a while and just came back. Santa, how's it going? Did you ever play VTES or Rivals? Okay, we made it 1 hour in. I've been streaming for 52 minutes, so we're gonna play some Ampere now. This is Ampere. This is Ampere. Shout out here to Stux, who brought this to French Nationals, went undefeated on the corp side here. It is a pile of 49 cards. Again, they're all one-ofs, and we have a win condition. I think our win condition is to do enough damage and have the runner be surprised. We're playing really mean ice. I think we're just going to see how this deck plays out because it's really hard to tell because there's a lot of cards. And notably, there's a lot of cards that a lot of people have maybe not ever played or seen. I've never played Clyde Van Wright because it's Clyde Van Wright. Now, I don't know how this works into a win condition. Resing this for 2, trashing it for 3, I guess that favors us, but I don't know how this would possibly matter. But we just have a lot of ways to do damage, and I can imagine the ways that we do damage connect. Notably, with Ampere, you can play one of everything, and I'm actually surprised. It feels like there's a lot of staple cards that I would quickly put in my Ampere deck that aren't in this deck, right? Like things like Regolith Mining License seems like the quintessential Ampere deck because it says 15 credits on a single card, and that seems like a lot. We also have literally the most expensive ice in the format with Tyr and Cloud Eater, and we also on an Ampere deck, a deck that has in faction 2 econ cards. So I don't know what to do about that. And we have to install advance most of our agendas. So I'm not sure if we can make a server where that is actually really defensible, or runners are just not going to understand what we're doing and be scared that everything is the one of Urtica, which it rightly can be. Funny enough, I think if Ampere had the text of also precision design, if it was Ampere deck building, but also PD, I don't know if it would be good. Like, I honestly don't know if that would be good enough. Off the top, if I seem to be dismissive about Ampere, I want to be very clear that I am. And it's more so because I think Ampere is cool. And for a lot of people, Ampere and Nova will represent like one of their favorite things about Netrunner. And I think that's sick. For me, I'm not the target audience for that. And I totally understand that. And I don't think I need to I'm not trying to attack anyone or make fun of anyone. I'm just not the target audience for this because I both like decks that have a more structured game plan. I think there's some really fun stuff to be done in formats like Highlander, but generally those Highlander decks are structured enough. If you play like, I imagine Magic Commander, you have a lot of tutors and a lot of ways to actually touch your cards in ways that happen a lot more consistently. But I think my bigger problem is like playing against Ampere. You don't know what they're doing. So it's really hard, I feel like, to make to feel good in that matchup, to make plays, to make hard calls, and do all the sort of stuff that make me feel like I'm good at Netrunner, where I challenge a remote server because I think it can be one of these 4 cards, and if they res it, they're alone. And like, you know, you do things. You can't make plays into Ampere because every ice could be sized and done, and I don't want to die like that again. I miss DLR. So yeah, I don't know. It's just not for me, but I think there could be a lot of fun. So we're just gonna like take it and go. Things that are notable about this deck: we have like weird cards that care about tag punishment, but not in a game-winning way. But we have like 2.5 ways to give tags. Like this deck has a trust operation, but then the only way to give tags is like 1 public trail, and then if they hit our ice really bad, like there's a lot of things that I don't get. Did Andre say I missed DLR? I do, but I was also just reading Cat. Filibustering deck. As much like I think you could make a Highlander ID that I would like. I just wish the Highlander ID had more text on it to make the rest of the game plan more synergistic, or make you understand what the game plan is from a distance, but I don't know. DLR Sisyphus Ag. It just sounds like AI made that up. All right, let's import it. Let's go. I think the ability to prick Ampere decks based on a small number of revealed cards is a legit skill, but I don't think it is. It's like, how do you face check into ice and Ampere? Like, I'm at the point where I just can't face check until I have a killer down, right? Which is unfortunate because there's only 1 ice in the damn deck that's going to end me, but like, will I find it? I don't know. And then because you don't know what the cards on the table are, let alone it is technically an asset spam deck, you generally have to just like run early and then just set up for the rest of the turn, because it is relatively dangerous to like check later in the turn. I think we're going to see, obviously in very real testing in the next 5 minutes, I'm still stalling, how that actually turns out on the runner side. Andre's going to be able to filibuster for an hour. We are 56 minutes, and 6 minutes of that was music. So like, we got some time. I think I left the kettle on. We play somewhat safe versus Jinteki. Why not Ampere? Well, because I think the way that you play safe against Jinteki is also boring. Like, I don't like it. I don't like the whole traps thing where like, oh, they double advance the card. It could be literally any part of the card pool. I don't know how that matters. I'm going to touch it early and then I'm just going to like do nothing for the rest of the turn. Like, that is how you play against Jinteki. And I think the way that you play against Jinteki probably could be more interesting than that. Hangout filibuster stream is great. I'm impressed despite myself. Tehran. Okay, Tehran usually runs us down with something a bit better that we're playing. Oh, we'll be fine. I asked earlier, but back in 2010s, I used to see a lot of custom-made laser cut IDs. Does anyone still do custom stuff like that? A lot of people do, Dead Man. The ones you probably saw in 2010s belong to Orbits, usually. But there's some really big folks that still make acrylic laser cut IDs. I think the big one that a lot of people are familiar with is Yakuza, the artist who did Coalescence, you might know. I have a couple Yakuza arts. Let me see if I can grab them. Only slightly a filibuster. We got this from placing, I think, top 8 at what's it called, at Crown of Servers. It doesn't do camera well, but it is an Atea on red. I also have one in silver that Yakuza gave me as a rare thing, just to say thank you. I don't think it's in this box though, but Yakuza does a lot of these. There's a couple other folks who make nice ones too. Alexis, I think, did the one I have of cat, of not of cat, of frog, of Ari, excuse me. So there. Pudma, okay, we need ice on there. I'm behind on chat. I face check far too many say sentons. This is sake, it's really, really nice. So we have the Hypoxia in our hand. We have a Drudge Work, which is great. We have a Bathinimus. Ooh, and we have no Econ. I think we can mulligan into so much worse than this. Like, that's my fear with this deck, is like, I feel like if we draw a hand of agendas, I literally do not know what we do about it. We have 1 Spin Doctor for recursion. We have 1 Drudge Work for recursion. That's it. So if we draw an agenda in a 5/3 and we can't just do install advance, it's going to live in HQ for a minute. And that scares me. So half of this hand is pretty bad. We could just do headline Bathinimus. I'm keeping this. I don't. Thanks, you too. I've been on the hunt, but having a hard time finding any laser cut online. Yeah, Yakuza doesn't have an online store. You usually have to find Yakuza at an event, like Worlds. He lives in Europe. Oh, sick. Yeah. Shit. Okay, I'm putting the Bathynomus is gonna be broken for 1 credit when something comes down. We're gonna land the Hypoxia. I don't know how we're gonna land the Hypoxia. I literally have no idea how we're gonna land the Hypoxia. I'm just gonna do that, I guess. Use those powers to free Bologna. Let me play NBN again. I don't have powers to do what? Someone had the op glass. Yeah, the op list came in a bunch of different things. Like there was an op in stone that Yakuza made. Sick. Charging the coalescence. Are you running to the Bathynomus? Like this is where you just say you don't have it. Oh, prototype. Every card being a unique one of is like when you lose them, you feel bad. Hitting snare out of Ampere is the worst feeling in Netrunner. Ian, I've died to Sice and Ton face check first dice in Ampere with 4 cards in hand. I think I'm happy to hit a snare. How you doing, by the way? Oh, is Tron going to die to Sice and Ton? 5 cards in hand? It's unlikely. On to Maryland, we lost 700 credits. I'm wishing football all is right with the world. What, do you have a football team? Who do you care about in football? I didn't know football was on. I tried to die to Terrence's snare and he scored out instead. Zero fear? Rightfully so. Get him. Hit a spark, hit a Lobby, hit a burner. That seems like good enough damage. We can't afford a snare in here. We put the Urtica. We actually probably could have done Urtica advance and we would have won the game. Sometimes it do be like that. Seeing my opponent put down the Ampere idea is the worst feeling ever. I honestly don't like playing against it. And I don't think it's like a high, like, I don't think it's a quote unquote good deck. I just think it's like how do we make a play with this? How do we make a play with this? I don't know how to make a play with this hand. We have to ice this up because if we pay 4 for this to get 2 and then Tron trashes it forward. Like if we didn't ice this, Tron's play is trashes for 4, click for 3 credits. Sing cranked across the tail is the worst feeling in Netrunner. I technically have to ban you now for bullying Ian. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's not good. Back to homework and altar painting for me. Good luck, Andre. Cat, thanks for dropping by. Enjoy your work. Like they'll know it's this. He's running R&D and getting 2 credits. Let's get an ice we can res. I mean, I'll put a snare on top. Maybe we shouldn't do that. I think Tron will think it's a Cloud Eater, but maybe now that we Mindscaped, he won't. I think getting a Cloud Eater is going to be a nice way to make a... put him slightly upset. Did the entire card pool to choose from and somehow Refuge made the cut? It has credits on it. You're not wrong, though. I'm surprised. Just charging Coalescence and jacking out. Goddess. I feel like I'll never know. Greg, you gotta just put a mirror halfway down the table. All right, the value gang is here. Paladin and Fencer Fueno. We drew the snare, no surprises. So I think we're gonna put everything back in R&D and just say like, okay, it's behind a big old snake. I don't know what our win condition is. Nano etching, I don't really want to put on the table. Maybe Tron will respect it. Next turn we do like Urtica advance and see what happens. I think we can put the nano etching out there just to like draw some amount of heat, but he has 1 credit a turn to trash things with Fencer. I think with Fencer, he's likely also to be on Baya, which is a really nice combination. We can't get the Cloud Eater credits, which we'd like to. I'm just going to click for cred. I wonder why you play any other campaign over Maryland. The deck shuffle's so valuable. Nico campaign's really good. Nico is quite good. I think Maryland, sometimes the shuffle is bad for you, but the shuffle in Maryland is very good. But Nico is definitely playable. Nano gets you 2 if he trashes it. He does. But I want to fire it at least once. Well, I can't res that. Nico's better than Maryland? I think so. I think Maryland's just for, like, I don't want to ice it. But if you're icing something up, Nico's way better. Good morning, Jennifer. How's it going? Nice flower. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to lose in a single axis, but we haven't been able to make a play yet. Oh, all 3. That's 3 credits quickly a turn. That's almost a refuge campaign. Wait, holy shit. We drew Rashida. Top deck divert. No, there's no way. Honestly, this Rashida might be the worst thing for us. I like both, but I value the recursion on Maryland. I think I've seen more people shuffle with Maryland when they shouldn't. I've seen a lot of people shuffle with Maryland when they shouldn't. All three Taka and Shambles. Yeah, but there's no icebreakers. Keiko Pudma? It's a lot of value. Okay, so that's a really good thing to trash before we draw 3. We have a ganked. I think putting ganked on R&D is pretty frightening. We have a tier. I don't think we can use that. So now we have to win the game somehow. I'm gonna put this on R&D. I think we can advance the Urtica. See what happens. We have enough to do Angelique damage. We can also put Angelique on top of Urtica and start scoring out. I don't know what to do about that. Like, that just seems hard to deal with. We're gonna get Bernard eventually. I don't know. How do we get up to 16 credits? That's right. Did you all shit on Refuge campaign? It's 2 credits a turn for infinity. That is the largest amount of money you can put on a single Netrunner card, okay? For infinity. The trash cost is 4. It might as well be 400. It's behind a Bathinimus. You can't take 3 net damage and pay 4 just to deny us infinite credits. Ganked tier remote is a great play. Yeah, there's a chance we should have done ganked tier. It's gross, but I think Gank Cloud Eater can win us the game. No programs, but a low yet. Not running the Urtica, that makes sense. We have a trust operation. And a hypoxia. Pudma's now blank? Yeah, maybe. I genuinely don't know what to do. Because the thing is, like, Tron doesn't have to run on the table until we get to, like, 7 points. Like, I think we're not 7 points, but, like, once we're on 4 points, then he'll start doing something. Because he has no reason to touch this. Table Snare was bad. We also should have probably done the nano etching instead of clicking for a credit. Wait, this is sick. Touch my snare. You know it can't be a Rashida, right? Oh no, my Refuge campaign! Oh no, I thought he was gonna touch a snare. We didn't get infinite credits. It was fine though. It's pretty good. Why do we have so much tag punishment? Okay, I found it. I mean, maybe, but not like that. I just don't know how we're gonna get enough money to res a tier and a Cloud Eater. Oh no. See, Tron doesn't have to do anything. Just make sure we don't have infinite money. But this is like just going to be inherently a problem with this sort of game plan, is that Tron doesn't have to do anything. I mean, technically he spends more than we do. I literally need more money. Put Clyde in server 1? Yeah, for sure. What are you gonna do? Trash the top card of your stack? And honestly, this card was like laughably bad when it came out because it was in the cycle after Anarchs like had their programs that fire from the bin. The fact that Clyde Van Ryck can literally fire a Steelskin Scarring or Strike Fund is bizarre. Like, that is not going to be good for us. So we'll see if Tron respects it. Again, I don't think Tron has to do anything until we double advance behind 2 eyes. 35 credits because, again, we're not presenting problems. Let's see what happens here. Get his ass. Clive been wrong. It's not good. Hey, Changeling, it's definitely not good. The problem now is also on game point. Like, we do install advance events. It's a really hard call. That can't win. How much damage does this do? It does some. It does do some. Oh, we don't have ice in our hand. That's fine. We'll push out the Fuji in a turn. I got into standard playing Glacier as Mari, and there's nothing trying to res 2 Hydra and Tollbooth to be like 30 credits is nothing. I'm too poor. Yeah. Sometimes you do feel like it's a big number until you realize that, like, we res all our ice here. This is 10, 28, 35 credits worth of ice. Like, for a deck that does not have a consistent economy, this That's a surprisingly the most expensive ice in the entire format. Tron can just play your own board game over there. It doesn't matter. You can let us score out whatever we want in this remote server. Clyde? Got him. Ooh, Gaslight. What does Gaslight get us? Do we have like a Neurospike or something cool? We don't have a Neurospike. I assumed we'd have a Neurospike with this much damage in 5/3s. Okay. Fuji does 0 because they win? Yes. Correct. But he won't run this because he doesn't need to until we're on game point. As of this turn, or technically actually not this turn, but only once Clyde cost the runner 4 credits, was it cheaper to pay the money than to trash it? Because it costs a click to run this and 3 to trash it, so in theory if you pay 4 for Clyde and the game's over, you kind of came up equal. They have 14 HP left. You don't think he's going to Ashen? He might. He honestly might. I don't know. I don't think we've seen Breakers yet. Oh, it's on Lobby, so yeah, he's going to have to pay 5 credits to bring back his thing. Clyde is kind of an opposite Refuge campaign, infinite value. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is like an opposite Paladin Puemo. It is the corporation's Paladin Puemo. I think maybe people should look at it like that. People like, is Paladin Puemo good? Yes. Well, what about if we could turn off Paladin Puemo? Tron paid 1 for Fencer Fueno. Literally, that is a Clyde Van Wright as well. He's milling himself? I don't think he has. I think he paid a credit. Clyde succeeds where Maya fails. Yeah. The Chase Bank infinite money glitch in card form. Is the Keiko Fencer Paladin Mystic 20 deck going to be on Ashen, though? Maybe? Hey, that's a good card. Okay, so there's 2 ways we do it. One way is we double advance this and then hope that we have a Neurospike in the deck and put a Gaslight on the table. That way is kind of neat. Now, I argue that we don't have to do anything because I don't think if you run this on 4, like, what is this going to be, a clearinghouse? Just score it? Nah, doesn't win us the game. We need to have this to win the game. Like, our win condition is Tron runs. I don't actually think we have any way to do damage to Tron during a run. Like, if Tron eats the Cloud Eater, fires the ganked, takes 16 damage with the Cloud Eater, because Cloud Eater ganks does the thing again, because the on encounter happens twice. If he does that, then we score the Fuji and win. I think this is our win condition. Unfortunately, it isn't our scoring server, which you're going to need for other stuff. But at some point, Tron will get bored and run into Cloud Eater ganked. Now, you might be thinking on 36 credits after the Orca comes down, do you break a Cloud Eater for 4 credits? Yeah, you do break a Cloud Eater for 4 credits. Is this deck on See How They Run? No. No, it's not. It is 1 more credit. He's thinking about it. Like, we're getting him good. Lost a credit. Oh, Spin Doctor, that's a snare. I can't believe Cloud Eater gets broken for 4 credits. I'm readdressing the math every time this happens. Now, I think he might actually run out of cards at some point. It's just another companion. For me. Okay, so he might not have Ashen. We actually do an influence count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've seen a pinhole, 13. He could be on Ashen. Literally could. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 2 influence not counted for. Just saying. We could win this one. 30 plus credits with Shaper Breakers, might as well consider your ice are not there. No. Cloud Eater has text. Funhouse has text. Score Fuji to snipe the Ashen. I think if we snipe the Ashen, we still don't win. Like, that's a problem. Ooh, a pressure spike. Like, I think we still have to win somehow. In before Airblades. It doesn't work because it's not an on encounter text, I don't think. What are you going to charge? Twinning? Oh, we need to put the snare back in the deck immediately. I kind of want to do Mindscaping. The runner just float a tag? No, they didn't have a tag. How would they get a tag? Wait, sorry. I don't think this is automated. Oh, okay, it's happening now. Choose an installed card to trash? Well, I didn't think that would happen. Orca is a 7-credit repair. So it's either the twinning. Surely trash an installed card. We'd hope it was anything else. Kill the twinning, like, might not be right. That's how he finds a snare. Jacks out. You see how he can play safely because we're not doing anything quickly? Eat Orca, they won't bring it back before hitting ganked. But they can during ganked because it's an encounter. Right? Because when you're breaking subroutines, you have a paid ability window. So you can just simul chip the Orca back then. He jacked out, it's unfair. No, it's super unfair. This Clive End right is on genuinely becoming cool. Oh, fuck. I have never played this card. I do think there are some use cases for this card. I don't think it's particularly good. I'm surprised it is as bad as it is. If it was better, would it be better? Like, would it be good? We kind of need to do this in the remote server, but this might scare him. Cloud Eater only be active on one run is kind of sad compared to our Spider Gods. Yep, but it's unique. So you only have to deal with that sadness once per game. This ganked is literally just about the same trash as it is anything else. JK cooking in 6 might be nice, yeah, but like he can just leave it. Do we have to res this? Do you have to res this? No, it's an ambush. I don't think we do. Punitive's useless, by the way. It's on game point. Crash ganked? Yes. Cloud. Could do it more if you have a Brasilia grid or God forbid Stegadon importing Cloudy into HB. People do play Cloud Eater in what's it called? Thunderbolt. Fencer value? Oh my god. So true. So Fencer was actually used to break the ice with Cloud Eater because this was during a successful run. Isn't that wild? Oh, it's on me, I think. It's pretty fascinating. Now, what is Tehran gonna trick shot? Our win condition is him finding the one snare in 21 cards. Mind you, the write-up for this list said the games usually go 1 to 2 hours, which, like, I'm assuming that means that the runner... No! We had a good run. Okay, we can res a tier, which is broken for 6 credits. Well, that's pretty good. We just concede. That's fine. Good game. The Virgin Cloud Eater versus the Chad Fencer Fueno. You hate to see it. Yeah, this is not good. All right, good game. Yeah, we could have asked, are you sure? I don't think it's going to do anything. So we gained 34 credits. Now, the runner looked like they gained a lot of credits. I think 69 credits in a 14-turn game is not, like, over curve. But the problem is we didn't force them to spend any credits. So that's... How did they get past the toll booth? Simul chip the pressure spike, maybe? Yeah, they would have to just like simul chip for the pressure spike and then they simul chip the pressure spike back, right? So they install the, what's it called? The Lobby for 5 and they reinstall the pressure spike for 1. That's all. Well, I didn't make you do anything. Well, that'll happen. Being down on 5 points that fast, though, was like the worst thing for us. Because again, I don't think Tron had to do anything. Tron didn't have to run this. He could have just been patient and just ran R&D every turn. And then the only thing he loses to is the 1 snare in 21. And even that he doesn't lose to, it's just annoying. Card was sick. Summonship Lobby Spike doesn't get past gates, but still. Yeah, but then he, like, in the same turn, simul-ships back the Spike, right? Like, you just rebuild the whole board. You trash Spike, reinstall, Lobby. Thanks for the game. Because, like, these are probably his last programs, so he just wants to get them all reinstalled. If he forgets to reinstall one on the simul-chip turn, like, he might have a problem. Surprising Clyde pressure didn't force Tron attack? No, because he's dripping like 4 credits a turn with Keiko, Paladin, Mystic. Like, it doesn't really matter. Oh, hey! This is your deck, right? This is Stux's deck, if I'm not mistaken. Salut! I had 4 free credits a turn. I don't think I was losing at Econ that game. No, it really can't. And for what it's worth, like, we could res 1 more ice. We could, like, get up to 13 and res a tier. But not only also, like, is this a bit cursed on our breaker suite, because Orca does break, like, Cloudier for 4 and Tier for 6. Like, if we ran into a Carmen, maybe we have something. YouTube nor Twitch let me chat without giving away my phone, so it just came saying, oh, that's really awkward. That's really weird. That might be no. Congrats on the deck list of the week. All right, we're gonna try it again. We're probably gonna build our own Ampere deck after that, but let's see how this goes one more time. I don't think the French say salut for the same things the Quebecois do. Wait, really? I probably should have said bonjour. You're right. My deck next left thing is cheers, of course. All right, I'm gonna do another one. Let's give it another shot. So, what do I think you need to do in Ampere? I think actually going low to the ground and going faster than the opposition is an option. I actually like the 3-2 and 4-2 agendas because I think they're just much more manageable to score out. Obviously, you only have one seamless launch, but I just like going a bit faster. I think the 5-3 agendas make some sense when your opponent can't tell if it's a trap or not. But I do think the density of traps inherently in Ampere, especially the way they're spread out, makes it harder for you to have to respect them. Right? Like, obviously the chance that it's the one of Urtica or the one as Chekist is one problem, but then the other problem is they have to have the corresponding tag punishment or damage punishment to connect on top of it, which means you in theory should be slightly more aggressive. So I'm not sure. Play like all the good 4-2s, Nisei, Alice, etc. Yeah, I think you'd have to do something more like that. You also need to play as many like defensive upgrades and other win conditions as you have access to, right? So like I'd play Managarm, I'd play Anoetic, I'd play Adrian. Like I just play as many things I can put in a remote server. I think upgrades are actually very, very powerful when it comes to Ampere because it's hard to call upgrades correctly when they could be literally anything, right? Like it could be something that gives you 2 tags or it could be an Anoetic. Like that is a really hard call to make sometimes. Clyde is the secret tech to unlock Grinder Op with Urban Renewal? I don't think so. You can always trash the top card of your deck, mind you. It doesn't do anything. Warrior Tracker, yeah, Warrior Tracker doesn't work with agendas. So it's a card that maybe you'd consider because in theory it does protect your refuge campaign to the end of the world a bit better. But I think you need cards. It's kind of like draft. Like I feel like in Ampere, you need cards that whenever you top deck them, they are playable. And that's a problem that I struggle to see like how Hypoxia or Trust Operation can do something for you because there's so many board states where you top deck a Hypoxia and it's just like, well, that's not useful. As opposed to top decking like a red level clearance, which on most board states you can play some amount of it as much as it's not like your favorite card to top deck. There are a lot of good 3-2s. All of the limit 1 per deck agendas are great in Ampere. Oh yeah, the problem is the neutral agendas will let you down a bit if you're heavy on 2 points from factions. Oh, I haven't considered that. You're right, Kevin. If you focus too much on the 2-pointers, you struggle to get the 20. So you end up having to play, and mind you, this deck must be on a send a message, right? It is, right? Like send a message is good. Offered office is good. I don't know what other neutrals I'm super stoked for. Hey, it's Jenny. I would join on in 20 minutes. Yeah, it's probably a longer one, Gyro. Another time for sure. Hey, I feel like we haven't played in a while. All right, Sable. That can run us down. Diversion of funds is a thing. For what it's worth, I think having a degree mill is kind of defensive enough. We have 2 econ plays and an ice for HQ that'll be just a pain in the ass. I like this. Mind you, there's a chance, I know for Jenny, it's probably Friday, so she might know the ban list if you want to be really annoying about it. Again, the ban list might come out next week, but there is a Friday going on tomorrow. All right, let's see if there is enough respect for this. To some extent, I kind of want to ice this up. I do think turn 1, you should trash the nano etching. It is a 5 credit swing. Maybe that's a bit difficult. If you have a missed bones, even better for it. Did she keep or did she mull? She mulled. We like that. Shit. 3 cards in hand. Unfortunately, we have to res this. Because otherwise the boomerang will be here forever. We'd love for it to be actually taxing, which means if she has more cards in hand, but we're on 3 credits. That's fine. It's some HQ mark, which is a really good access. She can't steal the degree mill though. And if she sees the punitive, she might be a bit frightened, but like that's one of the downsides for punitive in this deck is you know they can't have 2 punitives unless the Archive Memories wasn't banned. So it's always just gonna be punitive. Take 3 damage at worst. How do you read into runner mulligans? If they mulligan, they're less likely to have a good hand. That's it. It's that simple, I think. If the runner mulligans, it's probably they had a bad hand, which means they're going to an average hand. But more importantly, if they kept, that means they have a good to above average hand. That's it. I don't think there's much more to it. Maybe someone more clever than me has it. But if they keep it mean like shit, they have a good hand. Because they think their hand is better than average. I like Anansi on R&D a bit more because it does protect R&D. And let's just gain some credits. It might be actually okay to keep this because it lets us recur from a diversion of fun or recover from a diversion of funds. We don't have to play it now, but at least now that in theory threatens R&D. This is the sort of thing where like you need to put some ice on archives, but I think the cheapest ice in our deck is like 5 credits, maybe 4 credits. Oh no, we have a ping and a tattoo. But like I would like a tithe in this deck. I just like cheap ice relatively. Well. Draw 3 hover. It might not have been wrong. Gun is down. That's not good. Gun breaks Anansi for 4. And most of the bullets. Full art gun. Flex. Real scary. Scary for me. I'm surprised the list isn't on pivot. Hey Blurby, you can only punitive end of line whatever back and pivot back into double whammy. I agree. There's a lot of cards that I'm surprised are not in this list. I think Regolith is one. Pivot is like a pretty core Ampere card in general. There's a lot of cards I think you could be surprised they're not on this list. And maybe that's like one of the benefits of playing, you know, 1 card of every deck is that there are slots issues, but those are some good slots potentially. Everything is sentries. I'm gonna be real, the full art gun looks worse than the non-full. It's a bummer that you don't see what's getting shot. I have a really nice revolver alt art from Pre-Nick that I play. All right, so the green mill's not safe. Hey, Moldora, how's it going? Good to catch a game live. Welcome. I pay attention to court mulls, but runner mulls I just kind of ignore. You should not ignore it. It definitely helps you well. If the runner mulligans, on average, they don't have the nuts, right? If they keep their hand, you have to be like, okay, they probably have a pinhole threading on turn 1 or a way to contest a remote server or like the world tree, right? Like there's a lot you can learn from it. Carpe Diem, it was an HQ mark, not wanting to go to Fonatria. It's a good enough tax, 2 bullets. She's also like, if she accesses HQ with fewer cards in hand, there's a chance the punitive gets a bit better. Hey Jam, how's it going? I tuned into Ampere and Andre says, no ice cheaper than 5 credits. This seems wild. No, there's 2 cross ice, but this deck has some of the most expensive ice in the damn format, which is going to be a struggle. How's it going, by the way? So like we have no incentive to score out the degree mill, which is why I think this deck might be going to time a fair bit. I was honestly going to consider not drawing there, but we have to hit nano etching once a turn. Because like this doesn't do anything for us. It's not an agenda we're incentivized to score out. Nova versus Ampere is such an interesting microcosm of the Netrunner side difference. Corp has a set tempo, so Ampere is quite hard. Runner can play all value and still get wins, so Nova is decent. Yeah, I think we talked about this in the Parhelion tier list, where specifically, if you compare Nova and Ampere that largely have the same tax, I would assume that Ampere is like 2 levels worse than Nova. And that's because corporations generally need their identity to have a win condition. Most corp decks are reliant on their identity text to be a major part of their win condition or have enough in-faction cards to build a cohesive game plan. Now, runners, you can just play value runner and win. You don't need an identity. The identities help, but very few runners in the standard format actually use the runner text to be the reason that they win the game. Mind you, Sable's not a great example. Like, Sable loves Sable because Sable's good. But you know what I mean? You can stumble upon a win, but a corporation, you need a plan. And this deck does not inherently come with a plan. So we're going to put ping on the outer side, outermost, excuse me. But like very slowly. Going good. Got to do some deck crafting for 7th Sea and Rivals. So locals keep up the skill and got to keep up. Oh, no way. How's 7th Sea be? I haven't played it. I'm more of a Doomtown guy. We did have a good talk about Rivals earlier this stream. It'll be timestamped at a later time. No! My money! How rude. Hannah and Miss Bones. Well, I don't agree with the part about runner text. Every tier 1 runner is because of their text. Yeah, but in subtle ways, Ian, right? Like, Lat is sick because Lat gets free card draw, but the Lat deck isn't built around the free card draw. It's just the free card draw is, like, busted. It's not like Max or Noise, who are, I think, a bit more dependent on their text. Like, Val was good because Val's text, but you didn't need Val. Like, you wanted Val's text, but the deck wasn't built around Val's text. Not a refuge campaign, though. I'm not totally correct, but I think more corporations need the text a bit more. Ari is one that builds around it really well. S is one that builds around it really well. Some DAO decks are DAO decks. I think the Lat deck without the free card draw isn't playable. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Fuck. What am I meant to do? Click for credits? Val's text really been there just to counter All Seeing Eye? You know how many people forgot about that and lost? Anyways. Next turn we'll do something cool, trust me. Time to feed 6 points. Honestly, time to feed 6 points is maybe our winning strategy. The problem is, like, Degree Mill and Ikawa have, like, abilities that you can choose not to steal. So it would be up to Asphyxia to, like, really mess it up and steal 6 points in a turn. So, like, these are just not very good agendas to do 6 points to. Yeah, too bad our agendas have costs, exactly. I play one more Doomtown than anything else right now, which is why I'm living Netrunner through your stream. 7th Sea's conflict system has hooks in me, though. I cannot get the new Doomtown expansion in Canada without paying like $95. And so, like, I am boxed out of that ecosystem. I'd probably need to ask like an American friend to pick it up. It's been rough. Cror, hey, how's it going? We definitely see more situations where runner ID not firing doesn't stop them from winning, but we also have existed in metas where Soul could win. Yeah, hard-hitting news wins. Hermes, that's not good for us. Wait a second. Like, come on in. 4 twinning counters? Have we just not? We've been clicking for credits. Issue is, like, if we push, it might get bounced. Like, it's hard to do 5-3s against Hermes. I think this is the agenda we'd rather score and or steal. It feels like a deck should be on Above the Law before headline. The deck actually has a fair bit of tag punishment, like tag punish operations, which I'm surprised about. I think Above the Law is generically very good. The same way like Luminal is generically really good. And for what it's worth, like one of the best users for Longevity Serum is actually Ampere. Ah, crap. We're cooked. She could die to Punitive. She could also steal 9 points. She could die to Punitive, though. You can play online, and I think there's print-to-play options. May want to hit them up on their Discord. Gotta meet Lap. Cool guy. Oh, cool. Twinning sees 3. Steals 9 points. Degree Mill, it's beginning. Take it. It could be yours. Jenny, you could be the proud owner of a big old agenda with a big old number on it. Yeah. Ikawa, you got 2 credits. Uh-oh, steal the back pro. Janina, no, please, one more. No! She steals 1 agenda from that hand? No! That is bad for us. That's really bad for us. We might have to, like, tempo Puny. Imagine the back pro feed. There's so many ways that could have been okay for us if she touched 1 more agenda and chose to steal it. Ah, so close. I'm gonna tempo punitive because maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. They might go back. I don't think she's going back. She only has 2 credits and a no free lunch. Nah, she's gonna play it safe, and rightfully so. There's no reason to take risks against this damn deck. Beans! Might as well send it. Nah, we still have a win condition potentially. Right, like she can still overextend. We still got like snare. I'm just gonna try it again. She has 6 credits. Does this deck play Nightmare Archives? I don't think it does, and I don't think you have a huge reason to play Nightmare Archives in a deck that has that many 3-pointers, because the runner still wins on 3 agenda scores if they steal a single Nightmare Archives. You can't really combo with only one punitive. End of line surprise with Phonotria? Yeah, it could work. It could work. I'd be surprised with a no free lunch if like this has active text. Because of the no free lunch, but like she could make some play that makes it relevant, I guess. She's checking like there is some fear, right? You got to be a bit scared. I also want to be clear, we res 2 ice and we're cooked. Anything's a combo if you believe with the heart of the cards. Calling our top decks in this deck would be absolutely sick. Corpse needing to have a plan makes sense narratively, along with runners just kind of winging it. Every Cyberpunk-esque TTRPG I've run went that way. Yeah, is this real? Oh, she's going for it. Inside job. This is what we called. So it's going to be Boomerang into Cloud Eater. Something interesting is going to happen here. Unfortunately, if the res the ping, which, hey, that's a tag. That's one deeper into the tag pool. Continue. We got to ask this as menacingly as possible. I'm going to use caps, but I don't want to yell. It could be a snake. Like a really big one. We could win here. It's possible. It is possible we could win here. It's unlikely, but it's possible. It is exactly the snake that she called out too, which is like perfect. Snakes are cute. This one's really cute. You can meet them. Okay. Boop. I get a little snake kiss. Let's see what kiss she chooses. Either trash uninstalled runner card, hitting a program from or a breaker from a criminal can be a big deal. Give the runner 2 tags. Do 3 net damage. That's a yikes. So Boomerang will get through one of the subroutines. So we can just go tag me and back pro will fire. So we could maybe do like end line punitive. Fire unbroken. Holy shit, it's happening. Wait, it's happening. She has 5 tags. I think this is okay. Could we top deck a Mindscaping? Now her ability fires first. She has to Hermes first, and then we look at the top 7. Okay, here we go. How do we win? How do we set this up? We have an embarrassment of riches. Iquus seems relatively safe. Oh, so true. So card to discard. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put SDS on the bottom. No, this is HQ. I don't think we need any of these. We can't play any of these cards. Just take everything to hand. No, because then we lose to like twinning C3. I don't think we can do that. Angie gets you the 5th damage? Yeah. 3. No, we have 7 damage. Like we move Angie to hand. But then we put SDS, Cinemas Subsidy, Clearinghouse. We bottom Clearinghouse. If we put the snare on top, snare on top is good. Fine. She has 2 clicks. Snare top doesn't matter. If we fire it, it does damage. It's pretty good. It's good that we have the one of end of line. Like, I think I also get salty when I know it's a one of end of line and it happens. So 5 cards into R&D. So she has like a Maker's Eye, we're cooked. A Trick Shot, we're okay. Do we have money for this? Yeah. It's just 3 credits. Snares 4. So we can pay 7. Punitive to end a line. Like, she has to no free lunch immediately. So we can ask action. As soon as we play the punitive, she can't crack the no free lunch for traces. And even then, she's only at 4. So we don't have to boost into this. I think we're good. I think we're pretty good. We can't get diversioned. She could have diversioned there, but she only has 1 click left. What happened to Hannah? I should have drawn? Oh, you can do it. You can do it. I think we have her regardless if she draws or not. Diversion was a death sentence, credit, end of line. Oh yeah, then she'd be on fewer cards. And it got shuffled back to degree mill. Oh, she left on that way. Yeah, bummer. I think that's a cool card that you can actually use it on the turn, right? Oh, this is technically a class hack draw. I'm not sure if that happened yet. It's no big deal. It's fine. I should resolve that, but take the top one and let the berry. Yeah, it's no big deal. Okay. So firstly, action. Need Clive to save us. So we have a couple lethals. Okay, she removed 1 tag. That's not the action I thought it would be. I am out of actions. Yeah, I thought she would get to 4 credits. It doesn't change anything, but we might as well ask. Not the all caps action. She saw this punitive. She knows this punitive is here. We can do Angie into end of line for maximum BM. Technically the bad plan because of feeling lucky. Imagine we complete image it. GG. We got it. Nice. Turn 9. We did it. It was all about the Cloud Eater. 5 tags? 4 tags. Yeah, well, we had everything there. In theory, you shouldn't do that because of steel skin scarring. Never. Yeah, I was really pleased. It was the snake you called. I had 1 Ikoa in hand, but it's hard with so you had a shot running HQ if you pre-popped the the NFL. If she pre-popped the no free lunch while accessing on HQ and then had 2 credits, like there's a chance she steals the Ikoa. It just seems like such a ridiculous sentence to be like, play around the Ikoa, the one of Ikoa on HQ. Are you ready to die, punk? Oh, Wayland? Yeah, Michelle, you're right. We mag dumped all the Wayland gun cards. Like literally every single Wayland gun card maybe in standard just in a row, which is like kind of fun. Yeah, that's the thing too, is like I think she's saying like she didn't have to run the remote server. If she doesn't run the remote server, you know how long it takes us to maybe win a game? Like you don't have to run that in theory. Like if we score that out, how good for it is. We just saw like Clyde Van Wright in 4 ice, right? It's like it doesn't do that much. It's very funny we mag dump 3 Wayland kill cards. All right, let's run it back. It's funny how no one plays punitive in Wayland. Yeah. Well, it came in 3rd at Worlds last year, but it's not very common. I think people see it more than most other Wayland decks. Snare in hand too. Eddie, it was on top of the deck. So if you ran R&D, we would have snared you for fun. Good game. Yeah, we saw off of we drew snare and we had punitive end of line, mind you. We didn't get those out the back pro, so we were set up for that. But off the top of the deck, we drew Angelique, who was just like for fun. We did not need her. Hey, merci. That was fun. SDS is too good to play punitive in Wayland. Well, you can do both. You're right though. Like with SDS, they have a way to not touch cards, and Basalt is not seeing as much play as SDS. Oh, Jeff is gaming tonight. There's a Jeff game behind my head. I don't think he's gonna get a lot of value grinding shaper into this, but maybe. The Netrunner equivalent of the Pulp Fiction scene in Brett's apartment. I wanted to, you know I wanted to. Sorry, Jenny? It's almost 5 a.m., so I'm gonna get some sleep, catch you on the replay tomorrow. Hey, good night, Stocks. It's really late in France for sure. They might know the ban list. That's all I'm saying. Oh, you wanted to run R&D. Yeah, there's like no point to do it. If you had a way to see 2 more cards, like Surprise Maker's Eye, you would win because there was an SDS like 5 cards down. In theory, we did not need to draw the Angelique. We could have made it 6 cards down, but yeah, we would Fire Snare if you found it. Oh, was Sable's last mark R&D that turn? I didn't pay enough attention to the mark. It's not like we can do much about it. Funny enough, too, like, I think if you kept Hannah that turn, you had maybe a chance to get out of there. Because you shuffled back, and if you do Hannah to gain a click and remove a tag, it does help you a bit. I still think you have a tag problem, because you have to clear down every single tag. Yeah, it's probably impossible. So I think you, like, shuffle away, usually the class act, to, what's it called? I think you often shuffle class act to Degree Mill, because that's the turn where you need as many clicks as you can get, so you can a chance to win, so you don't die to tag punishment punitive. I'm assuming. I'd have to check the replay, but that sounds about right. Oof. All right, after this, we'll build our own Ampere deck. I don't think we're going to get to Nova today, which is fine. Stream might end a bit shorter today. I still have a bunch of stuff to do tonight. I'm behind on a bunch of angles, which is not great, but see how long we idle in the lobby. Is there a runner you think breaks your idea that their text isn't built around? Maybe I'm misunderstanding your phrasing. Is there a runner you think breaks your idea that their text isn't built around? Moldora, I'm not fully sure I understand. So what I was saying is that there's a lot of runner decks that they use their text for value, which is good, but there's also a bunch of runner decks that their text isn't like built into their card synergies. And I think Corps kind of need that a bit more. Oh, fuck 419 Crore. Why? Why are you so mean? Final play. Good luck. Thanks. Thanks, you too. All Ampere has is Ampere's secrets, and you bring 419. Tusk, tusk, tusk. If you wheels run and get auto Roshi'd into Degree Mill and shuffle wheels, then the jack out, do you take a tag? If you wheels run and get auto Roshi'd into Degree Mill and shuffle wheels and then jack out, do you take the tag? Yes, I think so. I think it's like Sneak Door. I'm assuming it's like Sneak Door Beta, and if the Sneak Door Beta gets trashed during the Sneak Door Beta run, the text still activates because the ability is already fired and it doesn't like have to not exist. I think that's correct. Cody, how's it going? You can keep your signature cost. This is the best economy hand we've ever had. Keep Perino, that's good. If I can install my Hypoxia, I'd be really happy. It'll save as a credit. Fuck. Oh, the cheapest dice in the deck. Sick. We have to ice up Charlotte. If we do install advance, like, how upset does Crore get? This deck also doesn't have him a virus. Like, it's a one of. It's a one of, but you know what I mean? Speaking of Sneak Door, I found out it gets negated by Ag. That makes sense, because I think it says successful run on archives. But I'd have to check the Sneak Door text. It's been a minute. So do we want to protect these cards? No, you can find out it's a Maryland. I think Crore should trash the Maryland. No, it's a Maryland. Exposing becomes a bit more expensive once there is... I kind of want to keep this for Tattoo Bola. So we could put a prototype out there. I think losing a prototype would be kind of rough. The next play we can do on the following turn is ping Charlotte Advance. A lot of times against 419, you just don't want to do... you want to do multiple installs in the same turn. Actually, sorry. Yeah, I'll just... Never mind. For that reason, we'll do ping Charlotte Advance. Because if we're just doing install Charlotte Advance, we're not doing much. Turtle gonna have trouble getting to 6 strength? Yeah, that's true. 149 for the Saisantan event. How can I see a ban list from the game? TR Gamer, if you go to Null Signal Games website and go to the player section, there'll be a ban list page. Technically one of the easier ways, but I'm not confident it's updated. If you go to Netrunner DB, go to the More tab and hit ban lists. It should have exactly what you're looking for. I think the only problem with this ban list, while it's accurate, this is mislabeled. This is 2405. I don't know why this is like this and it hasn't been changed, but all the cards here are currently banned. That's the easiest way. And then you can see all the old ones too. But we should be on 2405. It's just misnamed. I don't know why. All right, Boomerang into Tattoo Bola, so we can do the resin swap. 419 is actually pretty good into Tattoo Bola because you can see what the ice is. We never get snared. No, you don't. Tattoo over Charlotte? I don't want to not Ice HQ and get doofed. What are you gonna do, snare me? Man who's got snared. Thanks, of course. Yeah, you better be. You don't know Cror, by the way. Cror is like a judge from Australia. Cror's really nice. Can I let that fire? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That is fine. Yeah, so that's the thing where I think Cror's just gonna bounce off the Tattoo Bola. There's actually a chance we don't have another ice in hand, but it looks like he doesn't want to find out. The Axis gives him 1 more credit. Gives us like 4 credits, 3 if we pay for 419. We in theory should pre-res the Maryland if we're worried about falsified for like exposed, but I don't think we actually have to be worried about that when there's no turtle and when there's probably way better targets in this deck. It doesn't say successful run archives, it says run archives if the run is successful, which made me think I had to start on archives. Oh, interesting. That would probably catch me off guard too. So we can do Charlotte, advance, ping. It drops us down to 2 credits, so we can res the ping. Fine. Actually, we can expose the Charlotte. What are you gonna do? Run it? It's a Charlotte. And we're gonna res it. Bless you, Maddie. Because there are cards that expose. So this is weak to pinhole threading, it's weak to inside job, it's weak to boomerang, but we know 1 boomerang is here, so we don't care. You think any of the banned IDs should be unbanned for either corpse or runners? Oh, what are the banned IDs right now? On the runner side, it's Liza, no. Cabinessa, no. On the corpse side, it's Matee. Maybe? That would be a wild world. But I probably not. I'm not sure if I'm missing any. I don't think I am. Yeah, force the res. Unbanned Matee. I honestly think Matee is cool. I wish there was a Matee that was slightly less powerful than Matee. But Matee is a cool ID. I had a lot of fun playing against Matee as a tier 1 deck. Y'all were complaining about Crim. Here you go. Not like this. Have any card from the new collection that breaks the meta at the point that you think they would be banning soon? I actually know the upcoming ban list because Null Signal Games has been kind enough to reach out to content creators to help so that we can put out videos for the ban list, which is either coming out tomorrow or next week. I definitely think there are cards that could end up in the ban list. I think if you ask chat, they'll tell you like a lot of different cards that could end up on a ban list. Jai yelling trick shot. Can't even prompt you to trash my classic because you're Ampere? What do you mean? Oh, with the tag? Yeah. Okay, that's not good. It's the most balanced card in the new set. Don't have me. I like trick shot. I think, well, no, okay. Trick shot's cracked. But like, I don't think trick shot is a problem that needs to be banned. I think trick shot could be banned one day. I don't think trick shot needs to be banned. Now, my opinion and the SBL team's opinions are 2 different things. I'm not on the SBT. But yeah. Got him, Jay. Jeff, are you playing? Do you want to play against Ampere, man? It's a fast one. Look at us go. Next. Oh, no, sorry. Forgot my value engine. Ban sure gamble, keep hedge fund. Yeah. If we can just get back easy mark, everything will be back in line. Yeah, TR, I think you made from new collection, you probably mean like the last set. And I think, yeah, there's definitely ban candidates. One card from the last set, mind you, has already been banned if you're not familiar with. Tributary. The Jiteki Ice has already been banned. It was banned really, really quickly. I'm learning the game, playing with the starter deck with a friend, playing just with the 30 cards at the moment. I think corps are broken. I'm a dreamer, am I right? I don't know. I haven't played enough just System Gateway. I think on average, a lot of people say that it's harder to win as the corporation because you have to have a bit more of a game plan and understand what you're doing. Well, runners can just run central servers and sometimes win. No, I had to not click for credit and advance, so I should be down 2 credits. I do think, Oh, so true. Yeah, yeah, so true. Thank you. Yeah, that is very true. That's why Crowar is a judge. Hey, Chris, trick shots fine. DJ Fenris makes it a problem. Yeah, that doesn't happen in every matchup, though, but DJ is very, very powerful. I know I've said this before, like, I'm actually more upset about Burner as, like, the strongest HQ pressure card in the Shaper faction. The eyes of the judge, yeah. I got a warning, I think. I think it's really easy in System Gateway to overextend as a runner and then inefficiently just spend your credits, right? Like if you're running R&D for a single axis and you're breaking a Brawn and on cell and spending 10 credits, you're probably not going to win that game. And I think that's a problem that newer players can run into with System Gateway. DJ might be worth banning, or just Steve. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I think to some extent there's a chance that cards are about to rotate, right? Like Steve is gone soon. Or sorry, yeah, Steve is gone, let alone DJ's gone soon. Maybe that dodges stuffing. Ban cancel. Give Shaper a Gmod is what I'm saying. Okay. We have a win condition. I'm playing just with runner. No one lost the moment, but I feel like Corps have too much opportunities to make the game be very hard for the runner just with one simple move. What's the simple move? Sound like an advertisement trying to make me click in. This one simple move runners hate. You'll never believe it. I think we just do nothing until we lose to multi-axis. I think Physarum and Muse are more egregious. I think Physarum is pretty wild. I do think the barriers being taxing in the modern meta, that's a big part of it. The famous Harlan cards. That's all you need. All right, we're cooking. Sentries and scary ones. You can go back on top of the deck. We don't need you. Nobody needs you. Advance. So I'm going to just government subsidy. So next turn we can do a server, which will be like Funhouse innermost, Jaguar outermost, or Saisentan. Let's be mean. When I first sat down to learn Fire Rashida, I do think it's a runner meta, but the data disagrees. Jeff, I do agree it's a runner meta. I find it really funny we're talking about runner bans, but officially it's a corp meta. I think it's a corp meta because corps are like zigzagging every damn week to kill the runner in a weird way they're not expected. If they didn't do that, the corporation should stop doing that. Yeah, I think it's a runner meta. Hey, we know the top. You sure you want to touch my snare? I mean, like, I put it there. Alec, how's it going? Hardest card is the most broken for the corpse, I think. Stinger games. Let's go. It's a hypoxia. It's fine. Do nothing until we lose. Have you been reading my strategy guide? I think punitive ban could be good. Runner side is a lot tougher to say. Punitive ban is something I've heard from a whole bunch of folks. I find it really surprising, the idea of banning a card that's like 11 years old. Not that it's not necessary. Punitive's winning games, but like, yeah, mixed bag. Charlotte's cracked. Imagine we draw our one of punitive. All right. Do we do Jaguar, Saisentan? No, let's do Funhouse. Then we do Charlotte. We need to do Fuji Advance next turn. So either we do Ice R&D or we just hit Charlotte. Let's just hit Charlotte. Surely you can't afford that one card to stop the expose. You're so poor. Got a Charlotte. When you said the same runners are winning but different corps each event, I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, that's a good point. Got it from a fancy dinner. What'd you get, Alec? Baya, nice. 9th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to you and to your partner in 9 lovely years. I'm assuming you did not get married immediately, so it's probably a bit more than 9 years, but overall, great job, gang. What are you going to install? A killer? Do you have a tutorial for playing net and actually like playing on Jinteki.net, gamer? I do not. I don't know if anyone does. I don't remember seeing one for a minute, but what I would recommend as a newer player, if you want to figure out how to play that Jinteki.net, you want to go to discord.gg/GLC, which is the green level clearance Discord channel. And in there, you go to the new player channel and you hit @mentor or whatever is the corresponding tag, and you say, hey, I'm a newer player trying to learn Jinteki.net. Does someone have an hour to sit down and teach me Jinteki.net? And someone will sit down and gladly teach you Jinteki.net. Does anyone ever double advance to Charlotte? I think more people should. I think there's good reasons to do it. Oh, that's gonna be good. What are we throwing out with his hand? I don't know if you mean physical card games. I'm talking about Jitegi.net. I might have misread your comment. Magic having a 1x game over? It would be pretty good. It'd be pretty good on this board state. I think we score the Fuji and like hit a breaker or something. Oh, you're only playing physical. Okay, playing physical. I would just watch. Null Signal Games has a video, how to play, but you know how to play. Wait, sorry, thinking. Hold on, I've totally lost the plot here. What is our play? We have too many cards with Charlotte. We actually probably shouldn't have drawn a card with Charlotte because our plan was install advance. Jeff. I guess I'll just install cards. Jeff, be nice. Keep trucking. Fumbles. Beat him. Fumbles. Very funny. Double advancing the Charlotte economy with the price of the yen? No, it's good. It's good. Is the yen better yet? Toss the cat. No. No. It's a good ice. It has good text on it. We struggled to get the threat 4 because we are a 3-pointer deck, but it's a good face check. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I'm an enthusiast. I make my own to play with friends while looking for card games. Print and play. Oh yeah, you can print and play everything, which is really great. We did not need that card. This is not an important card. This was a diversion. This card existed just to keep Crore busy. And we're going to keep that tier because the Tattoo Bull is going to have the biggest glow up it could have ever imagined. Pinhole threading? To touch my Fuji? If Charlotte goes down? Huh. You have made a fork. I will call you on the fork. Or I will panic. What a... So either I will take Charlotte for 3 credits or I force a Crore to trash it. When I play against Jez, it feels like accessing a Behold from R&D. You were perceived. I actually think we need the 3 credits. Hear me out. The link might not have been eaten. Neon Stag did a how to play system gateway, which is highly recommended. They did? Oh, they played a quick game. You're right, Jeff. Your thing totally got eaten. I was like, you just wrote from Neon Static. And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. He's gonna touch my Fuji. That's not gonna be good. I realize how hard Charlotte slaps in Prov. From my understanding, people have said it's a bit okay. Right? Like if they don't run, you don't get anything. So they have to run. But if they don't run, you don't advance it, so you don't get anything. Like it's not perfect. Make them spend. Yeah, he won't spend. He has Miss Bones. I don't even want it. Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully hit breakers, but he's in control of that situation. But you get double if they run it and then trash it for money? But they'll never trash it for money. Wait, what do you mean? Because if they trash, you trash it. You trash it, they don't trash it. Who's trashing it here? That is the best agenda. I think you tend to leave Charlotte just over advanced. I guess you do. And just like let it chill there. But I think that's comparable to like a Vig. And a Vig is just probably harder to trash. Because you often don't trash Charlotte, but you have to trash Vig. And I don't even think Vig is good. NGO behind the ping. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think we just try not to get blown out by what's it called? Like, I don't want to put this behind the because it doesn't do anything and then we have to pay credit to protect it. Like, we're just trying not to get blown out by our Hermes here. Big on War is my favorite thing about Prov at the moment. Warroid. I'm gonna be so happy when it's gone. Alex, how you doing? Just this casual, slow game full of chill vibes. This is like exactly the chill vibes. We're both posturing, slowly building our L's, creeping towards one another. I'm going to Fuji him and do 300 damage. He's installed his breaker. Everything's ruined. Just organizing the last of my collection to binders at the moment. Are you going down to LA? Unity, stop installing your breakers. I was meant to hit those with damage. Dude. You're meant to lose them to the Fujis on the tape. Please run Jaguar. Oh yeah, you do have a thing. Building our L's? Man, that's sad. Let's build a W. It's hard out there. I'm so gonna res this tier. Do you get the tattoo bowl of money before the... Oh no. That's expensive for Croy. Hey, Judge. I deserve this. Do I get the tattoo money before or after I have to deal with 419? I'm assuming it's our choice. I just don't think JNet does that because they're the same trigger, right? The same conditional trigger. Got him. Yeah, that's right. Ambushed him with a good rules question live. Because it does say if you do. It seems like a separate clause. It's like flip, then gain 4. I agree. It seems to be structured that you do the swap, then gain 4. So I'm assuming 419 is before. Before 19. Yeah, that tracks. Tattoo subroutine, do 1 core damage to judges. That's not a good joke. Core got 9 creds. The swaps is installs ruling is the worst. Jeff, for someone who likes Acer group, that's hard to hear, honestly. I thought you'd like it. In before 19. Hey JK, the description of this deck said some games lasted for more than an hour. Yeah, they said 2 hours sometimes. Do I want any of these cards in hand? I'm upset. Upset you put down your breakers. I could have missed them. That could have been exciting for you. The money's a separate sentence. Yeah, I think it's a separate sentence, so I'm assuming it's a checkpoint. Installed a Hermes. Fuck. Okay. But what about if it cost you the game? We caught him on a fork. We forked him. We caught him on a fork. No shot. Oh, it's a big shot. A really, really big shot. We top deck that. Good game. Imagine we did that like with it in hand to be like, he's gonna play around the Fuji install cards. Good game. I top deck the public trail. Trail. Deserved. Oh, got him. Sick. If the ban list does drop on Friday, does it theoretically get dropped at midnight or time or posted at some point during the day? I don't know when NSG drops ban lists. Usually when I wake up, it's there. So it's probably a European time zone thing. HGG. Thanks for the game. There was 1 card in 33 that allowed us to win like that. I also can't believe the deck is not on a Neurospike. Like if we had a Neurospike, we could have won there. Like we could have done advanced Neurospike, do the beautiful like 5 damage we want. You in chat. Got him. Visual indeed hate this one. We're unstoppable. It's been way more fun than I started out on the stream. I was pretty miserable. Let's build an Ampere deck. Shout out to Stux. Nah, play against every angle is F. Yeah, you can't play against every angle. It's like, do I play around public trail on the line? What's the chance that the runner has it? The corp has it. It's like pretty not likely. Have you tried Pylu's Freedom deck? It's very cool. I haven't yet. It's something I want to do. I know Jeff played it on stream and it's like, it seems harder. This, I mean, with the most disrespect to Jeff, it seems hard to play. Like, I think you need to know what you're doing. More disrespect to Jeff. But more so, I need to sit down and like watch a replay, watch 2 replays, and then try it out. And luckily, there should be some replays up on QTM or Neon Static relatively soon. Jeff's laughing in chat, so it's fair. But like, I would have been in Jeff's seat if I was brave enough to do it, to be like, I don't understand this deck at all. firing gachapons, it's whiffing. Like, it seems difficult, but I do want to play it because it's definitely a deck archetype that I want to know what it can do going into Worlds, either for Worlds prep in general, but also for casting, because I don't want to go into casting and be like, there's an entire archetype that I think can exist, and I have no idea what it's capable of, besides it says viruses on a bunch of the stuff. I still think the deck is kind of worse than Hosh. Classic Jeff opinion, but like, it's probably a deck that like works weird. Like that looks like a bit of a pile and then it's played and it's like, oh, it's neat. I also don't think it has like a wide matchup spread, I imagine, but maybe not. With full disregard for his skill, it does seem challenging. You all know that Jeff did well in APC Montreal. He's not washed. He thinks he's washed, and we need to like just kind of beat him down every once in a while. I played against it a few times in the past week. It really made me wish I had more tag punishment. Yeah, I think if you have like tag punishment, obviously that's good. If you have viruses, that's probably not going to be easy for them. But it seems like it's a bit of a meta call too, right? Like I think it can stomp through certain matchups. Think we'll see a lot of it at LA? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, where are the like hardcore old Wolf players, Lou players? Like I think Texas. I think. Like I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I don't know anything about the LA meta. Andre, try to make a version of that Nat Anacom deck you were talking about a bit. Okay, can you just quickly show it again? Thanks. Yeah, I have it. I got a screenshot of someone playing against this Nat Anacom deck, and you're like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, that's probably my deck list." I think the Lagu is like really good with Anacom. You might want to play 3, but I think overall Lagu is just inherently anti-synergistic with Nat, so keep that in mind. But this shell, like we played, okay, screenshot. We played Alice, and this was really quite fun. This is kind of more what the deck wanted to be. I did cut the Lago. Yeah, it's a bummer because Lago Anacom is like incredibly cool value, where it's like trash 1, draw 2, just hit a steel skin, draw 700. Like it's really cool. It just doesn't make a lot of sense with Nat. The cool thing about this Nat deck is like just straight up guinea pig slaps. And then you'll play on JNet and understand how the guinea pig Anacom Spirocytes interaction doesn't work for you. It's like very funny. Seems that we have a balanced meta that we have. Being able to make the correct meta call can win you tournaments. Sokka's a good example of this. I think the meta right now is very wide. I think calling the meta is going to help you. I think Sokka does play decks that have like a wide enough meta spread. Like the Lat deck is good enough into most everything. And then like Sokka's meta decisions have largely been on like a bit of influence spread and breaker choices. Like I think Sokka's big choices were like how to break barriers and stuff like that, which is very true and very cool. I think that's a very valuable skill, but I don't feel like it's the sort of polarized meta I've played in before where it's like, oh, what was that 0 cost card that says trash a 0 cost card? Like we were in some metas where there's just like silver bullets that are just winning games. How much influence is Lago? It's only 2. Like Lago Shaper might do something. Lago Anacom is hella cool. Best defense, yeah, right. Best defense, like F that with all due respect. Like I've been in metas where you can just get blown out by playing the wrong deck, and I don't feel like we're there. Oh, best defense costs 2. You're right, it does cost 2. There's also Councilman. I do like Councilman. I do like the rule structure being infinitely annoying. Sokka W23 Corp deck was fairly orthogonal most corps. Oh yeah, yeah. Sokka's Worlds deck was definitely like a weird thing to do. And honestly, he could have called it wrong. I think if he ran into a couple more Arasanas and a couple more Essas, he would be in a worse spot than he was. Make it very clear, Sokka's very good at what he does, but that's definitely not the deck most people would have expected. I think he was just impressed with how well it did at Crowned Servers. He's like, F it, I'm going to do this. But I don't think it's the deck he prepared for the event. William said he nearly took a Taya to Worlds last year. What the fuck? Shit, what's going on? I want to hear more, I'll be honest. That's sick. Sokka's boring lat slaps and 2 Lagos and you're cooking. Yeah, you could maybe do it. I think that deck actually has a limited economy that you might not want to trash too many things. And the simul chips are relatively taxed out. Like, I don't think you could just put that in anywhere. All right. I would play BD and Thule on Rotato, please. What's BD? Oh, best defense. Yeah. Let's try this again. Ampere. But let's talk about, wow, hold on. I might have talked the talk about how the Ampere decklist of the week might not have been my thing. We're genuinely stealing wins that I don't think we deserve. And the problem is now that I am going to build an Ampere deck that is super value pilled, and we're going to have 0 win condition. Not like maybe a win condition if we can like get somebody on a good angle. We're gonna have literally no win condition because it's just gonna be like good ice and defensive upgrades, and the runner's just gonna get breakers down, and it's just gonna get into stuff and steal our things, and we're gonna be like, that's not very good. We're gonna be a worse Ampere deck because the better Ampere deck is less consistent in my head. Just play traps? Exactly. You think I'm gonna play Snare and Behold in my Ampere deck? No, because it's not seamless launch. It's gonna be a genuine problem. Like I'm gonna look foolish here, and I'm kind of happy for it. And the Moonpole Audacity Atea, he played a Cascadia. Oh yeah, that Atea. I'm familiar with that Atea. He played 2 versions of that deck. I think that deck was, I don't know if it would have been a good meta choice, but it can high roll real hard too. I think the cards change context when you value them on how well they do by just themselves. Yeah. Re-education Jupestad. Nobody would sit back. All we need is 1 Holloman. This deck should be on Holloman. Why is this deck not on Holloman? It has 19 credits once, and it has all the 5/3s. All right, let's build a deck. Agendas I want to play. Off-world office. Send a message. End of list. Okay, let's try the other agendas. Get a cohort in there. Yeah. Cohort's a really good way to use cards that are not good. I like that. Cards that I want to play. Architect Deployment Test. Pretty good. Luminal. Pretty good. We're at 9 points. We're sneaking up there. We might need another 3-pointer. Oh god, we have to play NBN agendas. There were the faction agendas before the neutrals. Yeah, I don't think it's going to change too much. There's a lot of Jinteki agendas. This list is that long. This list is same list. That's on me. Longer. Less playable, but longer. So what are we playing here? We're probably playing Back Pro because it is cracked and like we need that sort of consistency. And then it's either between Nisei Mark II or Longevity Serum. And honestly, I think we could value a bit of Longevity Serum in our deck. Yeah, I think we could. NBN, I think we're going to start with a beautiful Tomorrow's Headline. And then we still have to put, oh shit, we still need to put a bunch of points in this deck. Oh crap. We can't just put one more. Oh no, we haven't done Wayland yet. We're fine. So I would consider putting Beal because it's technically a 3-pointer and we can work with that. Like we're technically okay to install advance because it could be anything. That's fun. Otherwise I would consider like Crypto Crash because nobody's going to play around Crypto Crash. And finally Wayland. So this will take us to 20. So we actually can cut an agenda. So I would play Project Atlas to get some consistency. I honestly think Eminent Domain might be worth something because if we score this out, we can go get a good ice and hopefully we have a good ice in our deck. Like that actually might be worth something to snowball. I'd consider it. And then yeah, Above the Law, as Cody's saying, that card's just good. So this is 21 agenda points, which means we can actually cut a 3-pointer to a 2-pointer. So if we want to cut a Send a Message, we'd have to play a neutral 2-pointer, which is not great. So we actually probably just cut the Eminent and have 9 agenda points, which is a pretty good agenda suite, honestly. 2 3-pointers and 7 2-pointers is pretty good. All right. So let's just open every single button on this thing and see what we want to play. So you shout out what your favorite card is. I will upgrade Sam to SDS. No, I like Sam. I don't think SDS is good right now, unless you play against like Kit. I don't know. I don't know if I think I like Sam a lot in this deck. I'm assuming we don't have money. Yeah, Bacterial is so good. Bacterial is like really, really good. There's got to be a better 2-pointer. I think Longevity is actually pretty sick for a deck that's inconsistent, that either wants the ability to control HQ or the ability to recur its 1 hedge fund, right? I actually think it'd be fine. Now, you could argue to play like a Nisei Mark II, but we're playing mostly 3-2, so let's kind of just chill with that, I guess. Let's put cards in the deck. We're looking at assets. Again, shout out if you see something cool. Shout out if you see something cool. That card was really good for us. Shout out. That card's a good card. We're just value pilled. This card is really good because we want consistency on our draw. Probably not with 2-pointers. Atlas for some consistency. I think it would be a 4-2 Atlas. The question is like, is Atlas better than any of these individual agendas? And there's a chance Atlas is actually better than Headline or Longevity. Yeah, it actually might be better than either of those. I could see it, but let's see how this plays out. I don't think we can protect a federal fundraising in any meaningful way. So I'm worried of playing like low trash cost cards where there's not that like subtext of Oppo research hanging around every corner. Gaslight could make sense. I could see Gaslight making a lot of sense. Just to get whatever we need. Janina is a card I kind of want to try out because it's funny as an econ card. Lady Liberty was suggested in chat. The purest in-faction card is correct. We have no 1-pointers though, and 1 3-pointer, which makes me think this is going to be a really bad draw. Maryland is fine. Austerity is fine. Nano etching is on the side of fine. NGO front is pretty fine. Nico campaign is worth considering. Pad campaign is worth considering. We'll cut a couple of these, but I do think a lot of Ampere decks end up on a lot of assets because there's just probably not enough operations to generate an economy that makes sense. What else do we have? Rashida's a pretty good one. Refuge campaign, consider it. Regolith for sure. This was a surprising omission from the last list. Spin Doctor for sure. I'm going to play 1 snare because, right, we're going to play 1 snare. Powers that be. I don't think we're going to be scoring consistently enough for this to be sick. But it is worth looking at. I don't think we need to play Urtica. I think we can play Wage Workers because the numbers on it are just pretty good. And Wall to Wall is actually maybe something. Otherwise, Prototype is fine. Yeah, we can try that. Cut the bad campaign. There are plenty of ops. Yeah, we'll end up cutting it if we do end up cutting it. But we might not. It is also like it's a problem. I think Ampere ends up being asset spent because, again, I don't know how else you make it work. Way fewer ways to 4-2 enablers. A lot of 3-2 enablers for sure. Bladderwort, if we pad campaign. Pad campaign actually being more to trash can matter. I think a lot of people tilt and trash Bladderwort. And like emotionally, some people will let a pad campaign stand. But very people will let a Bladderwort stand. I think at the end of the day, the pad campaign probably will be cut. But like, I don't think it's an easy... Like, I don't think one is just strictly better than the other. Because having a 4, like, that's sometimes can be a big number to consider trashing. And this just doesn't seem like a big deal. And it is a big deal. All right, let's play some ice. A Blade is good. Afshar is good. Name your favorite ice. A Ket? That's not a bad card. I don't think we can resident on sell. It'd be a pretty good surprise. Like, I don't think I want to pay 8 for an Anansi. I think people already have the fear of Anansi. Don't watch this. If you're going to play against me, just tune out this part. I have Anansis and everything. They're all Anansis. Chill. Dynamis. Border control is really good. Butu I like. Braun I like. Descent is great. Drafter is great. Eli, fine. Enigma, very good. We need to make sure we have one high end. Like, we can't just have the cheap little stuff. Anvil I've been impressed with lately. Have you been firing the subroutine? I'm convinced that Anvil is one of the worst face checks turn 1 in op. Right? Like, generally people install something and run into this. I'll try it. I just don't think we can afford the effect, but Anvil is like genuinely very annoying. Where were we? Here, Gatekeeper, yeah, for sure. Hagen, I'd consider it. We'll end up cutting it probably, but Hagen's good. Hammer's really good. Hordem I like, but we might have too much like face checks. We need something more taxing overall. Like you can see all the ice text. That's good. MIC, love it. Magnet, I'm good. I don't think I need that. Now Night Dancer, that'll get him. That'll really get him. Palisade, probably we can do better, that we don't need the neutral thing. Ping, maybe. I think this card is so good. No one's playing it. That's a me problem, though. Saisentan, 100%. There's no way we're playing Ampere without Saisentan. There's no way. Like, people are scared of the face check. But if this could work anyway. A Tattoo Bola is fine. We're going to have to do an audit to make sure that we have enough taxing ice. Because I think I'm putting in all the cheap stuff that's really, like, easy to deal with. I actually like Treeline a fair bit. That we have to make sure that we have a high end. Right? Like, VSA is honestly an annoying ice, but it might not be right for the deck. Winchester's great. It's a good HQ ice. I don't think we need the gear check wrap around or anything like that. Gotta hit the hay. Just made it to turn 10 before I realized my opponent was playing Az and not Zaya. Sleep well, man. Sirakan Blade is not playable. I argue that Sirakan Blade will be playable one day. By playable, I mean like people will install their killer before face checking. It's like Drafter's too good. Wow, 51 cards, and we haven't even touched operations. This is going to be easy to cull down. All right, we need to play our operations that let us win the game. So let's just play all the value pilled operations. Audacity for sure. Biotic. Okay. I don't want to show our hand. Maybe. Well, there's not a lot of economy up in here. Like we need to play we need to play like Public Dandelion. We need to have an alternate win condition. I don't think we can score out. Extract is great. I don't think we can. Fast break. We don't have enough small agendas. Fully op is good enough, I'm imagining. Subsidy is fine. Greasing is really good. It wasn't in the other deck, I don't think. Just play 1x big deal? Yeah, F it. Let's play 1x big deal. That's the mentality we should have. Onse great hedge fund. Okay. Mindscaping, good enough. I think Corden is underplayed in the standard format. I think Corden is actually a reason to play Prof. Corden is a good card. Hyobu, yeah, maybe actually Hyobu. Hyobu's fine. Corden's good. Non-equivalent Oppo. I'm not gonna play Oppo. Restore no downside? Restore no downside, yeah. So, it's super true. Restore no downside. Red level, restore no downside. Sacrifice, scape net, seamless is good. Secure, self-growth. I'm gonna sneeze real bad. Sprint is fine. Subliminal is probably not worth playing. They're gonna run every single turn. No neurospike? No, we only have 2 3-pointers in the deck and they don't do damage. I think to play neurospike, you need to be playing Fuji. Specifically Fuji. Bless you, thank you. Thank you, Maddie. Okay, almost there. Too big to fail. Gesundheit. Danke. Tricholite, probably not. Trojan Horse, probably not. Trust Op, Wydell, Yodo, fine. Okay, that is 19 operations. Upgrades. Okay, this is where we're gonna actually have a win condition. Adrian is great. Amaze is not worth it. Anoetic is something. Arella, fine. Has good text on it. Cali testing, yeah, we just need to put enough cards on the table that the runner has to deal with. And I think mostly they're gonna be upgrades. So for instance, shit, Lacosta. We're gonna play multiple regions. I think it's just something we're gonna do. I think we can play Malampert. We can play Managarm. Mav is like probably worth it, but I think we have a slots issue already. Sainsen 100%. Holloman 100%. Tranquility 100%. Tucana 100%. Vova's probably not worth it. And then I think we need a Vlad grid. Okay. Massive cull going on here. 82 cards. We need to cut nearly half of them. So we're going to start with the ice. On average, we're going to need about 16 to 17 ice. It looks like we're low on drafters or on sentries. So we're going to have to cut the barriers. So I wish we could sort, but we're going to divide the barriers into 2 sections. Late game big stuff and then cheap lower stuff. So our late game stuff we want is probably just like Hagen and Botu. Braun and Botu. And border control. That'll be our late game stuff. So we just want to keep all the little stuff that is a bit better for us. So I'm thinking we probably want to play like 6 barriers, 5, 6. I think 6, 6, 5 will do it. That's 17. That's good enough. So we need to cut 4 barriers. So I think a Ket, I don't imagine us advancing us more than that. Low on drafters, true words. I've never been spoken. Yeah. If we could only put 3 drafters in this, the deck would get a lot better. I think I can get rid of the ping. I don't think we need that. We don't care about tags. They don't know that. So we want to cut 2 more of these. I like tree line. I guess it might be the Eli. I think tree line's just better. Eli? A bladed border trope, Botu, Braun, Hagen, Tattoo Bola, tree line. I think Hagen would be the next cut. A lot of decks are not playing 3 Hagens, but it's nice to get a Hagen early because it does a face check. But I think we're just going to cut it. Let's just leave it in. Maybe our code gates suck. VSA, not worth it. Thimble Rig is pretty okay with border control. MIC is our late game code gate. I think that's the biggest code gate we're going to play, and I think I'm okay with that. Gatekeeper, Hordem, Enigma, Descent, Anvil, Afshar. Okay. I think Afshar is not worth it. We have a Winchester for HQ. I think Anvil is... Jeff went to bed, so I think we can cut this. Sorry, Jeff. I'm not going to be happy top decking this, will I? I feel like probably shouldn't test that at Ampere. Descent is fine. Enigma is probably the next one to cut. Enigma's fine, but we don't need another one like this. How broken would be you can play up to 10 of one card, which would be normally have limited 3 per deck as an ID. I don't know if it would be busted. Mind you, original Netrunner had no limits to how many cards of the same name you could put in your deck, and a lot of decks were like just 6 different cards at maximum quantities. And I don't think it makes the game better. But I don't think there's any combo inherently in the format if I'm not mistaken. Things like ontological like can be problematic. So anything that has like scaling based off of quantities. 10 trick shots. Oh, no, actually, no, it could be a problem. 10 trick shots. Yeah, okay. You solved the format. NSG Instagram posted an update saying the ban list is out, but it's not. Is it coming out tomorrow? Oh, there's no ban list. It's 11:14 on a Thursday. Tenjai Chinyo? Tenjai Chinyo is something. Okay, hold on. It's like 11:14. We're not gonna have time to play this deck. What are you doing, Andre? Charlotte. Okay, let's cut all the chaff. Okay, we're gonna have chaff. All chaff goes. Arella is chaff. Vlad is chaff. Malapert is chaff. Cali testing is one of our worst options. That's fine. Operations, we'll call that. Audacity, big deal, biotic, DRM is chaff. Extract, fully op, arguably chaff. Government, greasing, Hansei, hedge fund, Hyobu, mindscaping. Core. We have 3-2s. We don't need Corden. Yodel, sprint, seamless launch, restore. 16 operations seems like an absurd amount of operations. Shooting Moon TV, that's just 15 RLC, 15 YDL, and a couple of agendas and big deals. Swan, yeah, you're right. I think you'll still have problems, but could you like big deal every single turn? Maybe. Another 30 minutes to finish. We have to finish this deck and play a game in 20 minutes. 69, nice. Okay, we have to cut 20 cards. This is hopeless. Okay, let's start cutting cards. Prototype, gone. Wall to wall, gone. Wage workers, fine. Spin Doctor, snare, of course. Rashida, pad campaign, gone. Nico, gone. NGO front, nano etching, fine. Austerity, fine. Maryland, fine. Janina, gone. Gaslight, gone. DBS, fine. Cohort, fine. Charlotte, fine. Return EB, YDL, install midnight, big deal. Yep. Yeah, return YDL to hit. It'd be pretty good. But you can basically do that in standard. Okay, operations, cut some stuff. Yodel doesn't make sense. Sprint, seamless, restore, RLC, predictive. Gotta start cutting stuff, Andre. Mindscaping, Hyobu. Hyobu's gone. Greasing, subsidy, extract. Extract is gone. Biotic. Big deal's probably gone. Maybe not. 60 cards. Keep going. Work harder. 17, 9, 12. Too many operations. It's so much harder because everything's a one of, so you don't often see deck lists that are this long thinking they're good. Okay, that's gone. Trank, Holloman, Sansei, Managram, Lacosta, Android. So we have Anoetic Adrian. That's our win condition. Great. Bread level, predictive, mindscaping. Mindscaping has to be gone. It can't be the best card. Greasing, subsidy, biotic, big deal, audacity. Okay, we could just play one more agenda. I feel like that's a bad thing to do. This deck needs to be as consistent as possible. Lacosta cut. Yeah, F it. Lacosta's cut. That's a good idea. Charlotte. Probably not good. RLC may be cuttable. Yeah, it's definitely not necessary to our game plan. Wage workers probably cuttable. Snare is like the most cuttable card in the list, but we're not gonna do it. Nano etching's cut. Let's just play our hand. Let's not DBS. No MCA. I like MCA. It's a bit slow, but it is like a really good win condition. We can score out 3-2s on like 3 turns from it. And it gives us something to do while we set up and click for credits. Like we're actually not gonna be that fast because we're gonna be rate limited on credits. Drop Nano, MCA, and Dibs. I'm gonna hold on to this until we eventually cut it in 5 more cards. Let's cut 1 ice. Oh, not that guy. Don't let that guy know I cut him. We'll cut this one. So now we're at 16. That's fine. Where's Holloman? It's down here. It's under the. Just like the class act. That's never confused anyone. What? Oh, right. Yeah. Jump scare. Let's get Brad out of here. Hagen, no. I like Hagen. Don't make me feel bad about it. You're making me feel bad about it. Hedge fund predictor, restore, seamless, sprint. Oh, man. This hurts. It literally hurts us. That was the worst thing I've done today. I've been awake for many hours. Like, I think we need this because this is one of the things we can put in a remote server. How do you make a deck? How? I don't want to cut Tucana. It seems like the only thing we got going that's like tempo positive. We have all these 3-2s with like very little text on them. Cut wage workers. Yeah, I guess. 2 more cards. Like it's probably cut MCA and then it's like, what does your deck do? Not a lot. Just 1 more. We're so close. I think with this many assets, we can cut 1 ice. Hey, Andre in chat, how's the run netting been today? We've played Corp. It was really great, Fenris. We've been playing the Ampere deck list so we can having a better time than we thought we would. Yeah, tree line's fine. No sprint, we can smooth the bumpiest fish off one of. Yeah, F it. Let's get rid of sprint. Let's just play our hand. We don't have to like worry about our hand. Value pilled Ampere. Drop Tithe? Never. Could we play Nico over Maryland? I think in our deck, we'd rather have a Maryland because we can jettison it. I already cut Nico. And so if I re-add Nico, it's going to be awkward. Because the Maryland thought it was safe. Winchester? Yeah, Winchester's a really good HQ ice. It's really good for HQ. I don't have anything better to say. You build. Okay, so if you're going to play against this deck, you have to watch out. We have a lot of scary sentries and we have tag punishment. You have to watch out because anything could be an Urtica. Am I right? I am literally playing Ampere wrong and I'm learning something about it. If you don't run the nonsense, they don't have to respect the nonsense. And the best thing you have is the fear in their heart. That's the best thing we have. It's 11:20. One game, it'll go fast. And no matter what, as soon as this game is over, I have to hit the Patreon screen and shut the whole stream down, okay? We're going to be playing fast and loose. Unfortunately, a bit short on traps. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Hold on. Hold on. There's a lot of traps in the list we're playing. This is the list we're playing today. It has like Snare and Urtica and all this like tag stuff. I'd be afraid. Hit the Patreon button now. We have Snare, so it's fine. There you go. Ampere, what universe are we living in? For sure, I got to catch up on the bot. It was really fun. It was generally really fun. Ah, Lou. That's frightening. This is a good hand, though. Copium reaching unsafe levels very soon. No, I've real talk. We've already done way better with Ampere, and not like winning matters, but like had a better time with Ampere than I was prepared for. If this goes terribly, we've proven a much more interesting point, which is like public trade on the line Ampere wins. Thanks, you too. I thought we cut tree line. Overlap the Patreon list over the game. I could do that. Okay, we're gonna keep Lou out. We have no Mav. Our remote server's gonna be Treeline Hordem. I don't want to put the Maryland out there. We just gotta hit the make a hammer hit something. Run to hammer. Run. Oh, they're playing fast. They're playing quite fast. How much Sysanton fear do they have? Price hit a steel skin and a strike fund. That's not good for us. And Audrey's in the bin. Okay, we are playing Mulch circa 20 of yes! 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 This is so good. This is like the best ice you could have for the matchup is hammer. The problem is we have to trash the MP, right? Like you'd want to trash the Audrey. They have 2 credits. What do you think, Jet? Like the Audrey's a breaker, but the Imp is the more important thing. We can't res the Maryland, that sucks. It's probably the Imp. Yeah, it's probably the Imp, because then they don't get a... Well, please hit the Hordem. Just trust the Hordem. Fuck, yes. Now, if they run the Maryland run 1 credit, they can't trash it. It looks like a Rashida. Yes! We're wasting so much of their time. And we can res a tree line next turn? Hell yeah, click for 3 credits on fair turn. That's what you expect. They're back in. Tree line will open up R&D. We need to res this. Get out. Don't trash our stuff. We have no trashables in the deck. It's like mostly operations. Fuck. I'm kidding. There's a lot of trashables in the deck. The deck is mostly trashables. Friday chip? Did they get ordered? Okay. So now we just click for credits again. Literally Ampere Gaming, because then we can fire the drafter. The drafter reinstalls the Tranquility. If not, we get the Maryland and we're like flying. Carnivore. Holy crap. Audrey, break up to 2 subroutines so they can go infinite. We have to res this. This is a really good ice suite for the situation we find ourselves in, but they're going in a way that I would deem to be incredibly aggressive, and they're being repaid for it. They have the Audrey. They have the Friday chip. We lost another ice, but we have a seamless, so we can make our tree line really quite big. Do we do a classic click for 3? I think we need the Maryland. Like, I don't think we actually do the Rashida. I think we do a good old Clickerino. Yeah, I think it's okay. Like, can they consistently run R&D? Like, we probably just have to purge once the Maryland's cooking. Click for 3, discard, big deal. Chat delay, but Kevin's got the line. They throw out a D99. That's pretty cool. Fuck, everything in their remote server is better than Maryland. Maryland's too slow. I honestly think we destroy the Maryland with Regolith power. Or we can, like, get 2 cards out of our hand, which is pretty difficult. So I think we put the Nico, no, too slow. Further sheet in the new remote? What new remote? Oh, we're building a new remote. Yeah, we are building a new remote. You're right. We are building a new remote. We could build a new remote. Do we haul him in the tree line eventually? Oh, because they'll botulus it, but maybe. Genuinely maybe. We have to purge because his Audrey is terrifying. It's very frightening for us. Crap, their breaker is making the money. How is that possible? No, an agenda. The joke's on them. They didn't trash a card. That's fine. Advanced Hortum always gets face checked with Audrey. Oh yeah, AI clause. Labor rights, hitting a carnivore, a badge, and a simul chip. Like, one Audrey? Do we purge a one Audrey? I don't think we do. Fuck. I mean, okay, game. I'll do that if you want me to. Yeah, I think we'll double Rego Hollow in next turn. And then we'll put Rashida in tree line. Like, we actually are cooking. We can Hollow Horde him. It's genius. It's very expensive. But actually, it's not that expensive. 4 credits for 3 advancements for 1 click is like seamless launch value crime. Yeah, this is why we don't do that, but it's fine. What are they going to do? Imp this? Oh, they're going to carnivore it? That's hardcore. Okay, so now we just purge. What are you going to do? Use your hardware? Yeah, now I think we just purge. We're not doing anything. Botulus is not an AI. They can always like Botulus the Hordem with the simul chip. I think we want to purge here so that they use one of their abilities. The other option is to get Holloman on the table so that we can do Holloman. Like, this server is now cooked. We actually want to overinstall this at some point, just so that it's not on the table for simul chip. I think purging here might be okay because we don't have that much else to do. This stops them from touching our cards unless they like simul chip the Botulus, which is bad to do it on hammer. And then obviously R&D doesn't make any sense. They have a tag. They don't have a tag anymore. Shit. Restore for Gatekeeper is like not great. But we need 2 ice on this. So Conduit's in the bin. This is the sort of game where like you don't want to overstep. Hollow and HQ, the hammer is doing work. I think we're going to try and, like, in theory, we didn't have to put on the remote server. We could have put it on HQ. I think they would assume it's a Crisium grid. The problem is, like, the 4 advanced or the 3 advanced Hordem is not, like, perfect. But we actually can, like, score an above the law and trash the cookbook. Is that correct? I think we do it next turn with the Tucana. And I think we actually do just get the Gatekeeper on server too. Hold on, order. Okay. I was actually going to consider restoring the Gatekeeper just so they can't break it with Botulus. Heading out. Have a good one, friend. Jai, enjoy your Friday. Good luck with your list. So this still has... Oh, never mind. I definitely should have done the Gatekeeper. This was a mistake. Fucking cookbook. It doesn't matter. We're going to lose all of this. Oh, we made such a big mistake. No, they can't be... Oh, they could be Managarm. If we had a virus here, we'd be cooking. Yeah, I think we need to get the Gatekeeper. We overextended. It's going to cost us. Wait, were they trashing here? No, we don't have Mev. Oh, they think it's it can't be an agenda. So they're carnivoring the two Ana and giving us the hollow and the Rego. They have 1 credit. Okay. We still have something. We want to draw an ice. That's a pretty good ice. Audrey's at 1. So I think we do just like above the law and score it. I wish we had the Tucana, but if we do the above the law, we trash the cookbook. Have we won Ampere games? Yeah, we won 2 out of 3. We did pretty good, actually. This is our version of the list, which is it's consistent. You can move Holloman back to server 1. Yeah, we could. We probably should have. It might have been better. Yeah, we definitely should have done this so we don't overinstall the regolith. That was a mistake. Yeah, that was actually a sizable mistake. So if that's the case, I think we just don't do it this turn. I think we put Rashida in server 1, hit regolith, and Tattoo Bola server 2. Just keep our opponent busy. We have a pretty good ice setup against this Icebreaker suite. Like, it's hard to get good value accesses. Oh, Hippo. Hippo? Hippo? I mean, gotta res something. We've played 1 labor rights so far. So, like, trashing the cookbook is not, like, game winning. I think we'd have to trash a DJ Fenris. But now, like, there's a lot of things that are being pressured. I don't know how they're getting through 2 ice here. They're probably not. They probably have to destroy this. This might be the sort of matchup where we're going to see an alarm clock. Imagine we had a virus. Oh my god. Again, obviously for this matchup, that seems pretty important. Audrey reinstall does it? Yeah, with Cookbook, you can flicker the Audrey. I just think that's probably a pretty expensive use of resources. In terms of simul chips, that's our second one. So the Audrey is coming back. Oh, botchless. Yeah, sure. We need to get rid of that Cookbook. So now we need another ice here. Luckily, Rashida should get us that. And we still have the restore, so we can just bring back the Sisenton. It's expensive. Move the botchless off Hordem? Yeah, it is. What did we lose? We lost a Thimble Rig. That's fine. Not that good against Audrey. When the Ampere gets their 1, Rashida. Oh, that's a good hand. That's a really good hand. Holy shit, that's a good hand. Okay, so we don't want to purge this turn. We probably want to set up. So if we Holloman the above the law, that's not great. They're going to be at 2 Audrey counters, so they can break subroutines, but they can't break the Hordem. So we could risk it and do above the law on server 2. We could do hedge fund above the law on server 2, and then we can just get another ice on top of this. It actually might be okay to trash the drafter so there's fewer simul chip targets. I'm not experienced enough to know whether that is the line. I think it might be the line. I just don't want this to be on the table. Touchable Hordem seems difficult. Did they use other simul chips? They've used 2 so far. Is there a play where you discard the Atlas and restore Hollow at next turn? I don't think we have a huge incentive to. I'm not sure if they're on. You might consider Brawn R&D. Yeah. Yeah, they can triple click through it too if they wanted to. I think we can get rid of the drafter just to tax at the simul chips. That might be a bit of an ambitious play. We'll find out. But even the tree line seems like worth something. They have only 13 cards left. They're going to infinite. Like 2 of the bottom cards I think are Steel Skins and Strike Funds. I probably should have tracked a bit better. It's hard to do on JNet. But they've been bottoming cards with buffer drive. So they probably only have like 6 unknown cards, maybe fewer. All right, they're sending it. Pinhole threading. Getting rid of the Holloman. Good night. Sweet Prince. I think we just purge here. I don't think we just res all our ice and we purge. We don't have to do more than that. They've used the imp, so they have the carnivore. Honestly, a matchup where punitive could win. It's not on the list. We're putting on a lot of pressure. We have really good ice into this, which is very satisfying. I don't think I would have respected Clot. Whoa, they threw out a hippo? They threw out a hippo? Into a Brawn. We cut Mav, it never was in the deck. We didn't even cut it, we just didn't play it. Okay, so we probably just purge here. It denies them a lot of value. They have one more simul chip. All of these servers kind of suck for them. That's the second hippo. I don't think a lot of decks are running 3 hippo. Now with the Brawn, it's hard for them unless they trash this. Now they can put back 3 simul chips. It sucks. I don't think we saw 3rd labor rights, which they are probably on. And of course they have the badge at the end, or sorry, the buffer drive. The trash and imp, the price and solidarity badge. So it's just gonna be simul chip. So that means we can trash the cookbook, and that is okay for us. Okay, so there could be one more hippo, so I want to put an ice in front of R&D. I don't think we have to do anything here quickly because we didn't on the previous turn. They're just getting their strike fund value, which is cool with me. We actually could use the seamless here. It's not hugely important. Okay, first simul chip is behind my head, and they have 1 card in hand. So actually a couple cards killed him if this was like a wild SEF out of nowhere. Trash and cookbook is nice. We can restore hollow, click, and then jam the next one. Yeah. I'm not in a rush to do it. It's pretty expensive because restore hollow is already 3 credits. And I think we might actually want to restore for like the regolith. Like it's kind of cursed because there's going to be ice destruction. But restore hollow doesn't seem terrible. Now they're getting their clickless like credit mill. Oh, we have to play this perfectly, and I'm not. It's 11:36. I'm not going to play this perfectly, I'll be honest. All the agendas in R&D is tied into Bran. We're safe into Hippo. They can bring back Botulus on the Brawn, which will break 2 subroutines, which is enough. I think Sansan and Server 2 will keep them a bit busy. Late Nate Andre best best Andre Poglos. I think that might be okay. I would actually really consider here restoring for a regolith, but we'd have to do that click 1 because we are just going to need money. So I don't want to restore pay 3 then click for 3. I'm just going to do credit. We can also ice HQ. There's some value to that. I'm not convinced we need to like respect archives if it's not like Knob Kree exists. That'd be more for like Leech, which I don't think they're on. But we definitely want to use this restore in the seamless sooner than we audacity, and we still have to score at 3 agendas because we're probably not gonna do restore Trank. Does it see its own trigger? I forget, that ruling came up recently on the judges. If you restore Trank, does it see its trigger? I think it might. But if it does, that means that also, what's it called, should see its trigger. Oh shit, this with the res. If that sees its trigger, then technically Trank in op should see its trigger. And I don't think that does. So if they have to simul chip to either flicker their Audrey, that's one thing. But if they have to use their simul, it doesn't work. So if they have the simul chip to put what's it called, a Botulus on this, we're super happy. This card is like very, very good into Botulus for obvious reasons. Fire all, fantastic. Keep your secrets. Our ice is good. And this is what I mean when you just play the good ice. Like, it's an interesting matchup. Yeah, it kind of is. It's kind of been cool. The problem is that like our agenda suite, I don't know how good it is to score to 7. So we get 8 credits, we can send out. In theory, if we have 6 credits, we can audacity out and have a click left, which is kind of goofy. This server is hard for them to contest. And with Adrian, we just need more money. I do think we will restore for a regolith behind the tree line. And if they spend their stuff getting it, we'll just purge. The real trick is to play only the bad cards. Nobody will see it coming. All the simul chips are there. First one getting cracked. Let's see if it's a fermenter or we're just putting a Botulus on the Brawn. Second Andre? What does that mean? Okay, I'm just going to be cool about this thing. And we're just going to get our money. So 3 credit play, equal, gain 3. Not a great turn. We put a target on the table, though. The question is if they have the 3rd labor rights, and I'd be surprised if they don't. But Carnivore at least is less and less useful. Because you can only buffer drive one of them. I think hitting the cookbook was really good for us because it stops like the Audrey flicker play. It means the 2 subroutine ice is very, very potent. Sensen too expensive? Almost. Almost. That's a fine target for us. Like, we're just doing this to play around Hippo. Resing the Tithe is just an extra benefit. They could let part of the subroutines fire. 2 simul chips? Oh, shit, they're sending it. Wait, how are they going to deal with the Brawn? Whoa, this could work out for them, but, like, this seems dangerous. Like, desperate. Like, are they going to triple click through Brawn? And then just say, how are you going to deal with the Conduit? And if they trash a card, they can, like, Friday chip the Conduit? They could give us a credit with the Tithe. I think they need more, like, non-net damage subroutines, but giving us credits doesn't seem super important with the Regolith on the table. Yeah, I guess they're just running once a turn. Do we remember a Mav? No, we didn't, and we're upset about it. We wish we had a Mav. They trashed Hansei? So they have an Audrey, they have a Friday chip. I think we just put a 3rd ice there. And then next turn we can pay 8 to score the longevity if we want to. We can shovel just back like every value card we have. Like, we could win with Big Deal in theory. I do think they have a lot of like clickless economy in a way that's like super insidious. While they're face checking to this, I guess they use Audrey. And then eventually, once this is too important, you can move Sace. Yeah, we could move Sace, actually. We probably should. They could have one more Pinhole threading. But then they either trash Sace or run R&D, so it doesn't do that much. This is another card that's really hard, luckily, to botchless, which is pretty fun. Yeah, this is what I mean. I think they should have just given us the credits because they can't take the damage. They're not telling us to fire subroutines. Okay. Then we could lose to this double axis. I don't think just purging keeps up. Conduit is decent to Sace. Yeah, it's not bad. They still make the successful run, so they still get counters, and they either trash the Sace or get the run. This is where we would rather have like a Managarm. And even then, it's like they'll trash it. But they have to pay 5. It's just like every turn cycle they're getting 2 clicklessly. Right? Like, look at this. It's gross. They get 4 credits each turn cycle clicklessly. The thing is, do they run out of Audrey counters? And I think they do. I think we know all the cards. There's just like, we just purge here, right? Oh, it's a border control. So they see 3 cards, which is only 2 new cards. I think we just purge. Seamless is probably the worst card in her hand, weirdly enough. You don't say that a lot. Because they only have 2 cards, right? So they can fire Carnivore once a turn, but they actually can't break anything for the rest of the game. Like, they have to make a successful run, and they can make a successful run. I think they're locked out. Like, what are their last 2 cards? Yeah, they're just full sending the hammer. I think they are locked out. Fire, okay. Here's a piece of hardware to trash, so we have to trash the Audrey, and then we have to trash. They just go through this 3 times. They can't win. Hold on, we have to trash array stuff. Choose a resource and piece of hardware. Trash Carnivore? Yeah, I guess it would be Carnivore. The buffer drive eventually is something worth trashing. What? Why does this subroutine not fire? Wait, what? Why did they... What happened? What happened there? Did they trash their conduit? Oh, sick. They did. Pretty cool. Just rip the board up. Just rip it. Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh my god, they're missing. God, Hammer's so good. No! Hammer's so good. Sick. Nah. We don't need money anymore. We've ascended. I'm good. I'm gonna shuffle 3 cards back into the deck. You missed Botchless trash? Oh fuck, you're right. Yeah, I'm gonna trash the Botchless, thank you. I'm gonna put back Restore? Hedge Fund? Biotic? Can you trash the Botchless? I missed it. Thank you, thank you. All right, they're a bit cornered. The most they can do is run HQ. Not optional? No, it's not. They can trash into Blade Austerity. If we don't top deck, we're just gonna click for credits. We don't have to draw. Should I just tell them there's nothing in there? I've worked so hard. Let me have this. I don't think we have to do anything here. Now this is really good for us. Did we put the Rashida back in? We didn't. Sick. Good game. That was a cool game. Their deck was cool. Our deck turned out to be pretty cool too. We just had all good ice all the game. Just like not a lot of synergy, but independently using very good cards to interact with this board state was kind of cool. I like that more than I thought I would. I only had 4 points. My agenda density is pretty reasonable. Just 9 agendas. So still 5 and 18. That's kind of high. That's well, oof. In hindsight, that's super high. And I shuffled 3 back. Yeah, that's really high. Yeah, so we actually had a lot of agendas in the deck. Now, if we had an agendas there on that board state where they start hammering HQ, like we wouldn't have scored with Sansan. We would have put 1 behind Tree Line, 1 behind Server 2. So on the first turn that they started smashing to the hammer, I think he had a chance of scoring more points. But as soon as that 1 turn passed, again, anytime we had an agenda, it would go into 1 and 2. The fact that we Sansan means we probably don't have a second one in there. Trollbait, we're playing Ampere. Been fun. It's been kind of fun. Always fun to play Ampere. Surprise. Yeah, it definitely is. Opening with the hammer was the best I could have asked for. Best I could have asked for. It was Drafter and Hammer. Hammer and Tulu. Like, damn. What does that I do? Nothing. It does nothing, but it means that you can play any card from any faction, but only singletons. It is just like a deck building novelty. It doesn't actually have text. Smash that Patreon button. Oh, I'm talking about. Yeah, I hit it. Hold on. We're having a nice conversation. Belran's playing a cool deck. This isn't smashing the Patreon button. Daria, your name came up recently with Tycoon. Enjoy. Thanks for the game. Hey, thanks so much for all the folks here and more for starting the Metropole Grid on Patreon. We've been quite busy as of recent. We'll continue to be busy putting stuff together. NPC Montreal will be out as soon as Monday, I think. As soon as Monday, I think. I might have a busy weekend trying to rebuild a computer, so that might take some time. Hey, that's me. Hey, thanks so much, Alex, for supporting the channel. If you see your name here and you want a little bit like a flair next to your name, like pod, cephalopod there, hit me up. Again, also, there's a lot of folks who support the channel, not only, well, some of the names here, these are just the Sure Gamble and Degree Mill tiers. We also have a daily cast tier, which unfortunately the names are not here, but the support is incredibly appreciated to let us put the time into the channel to do the thing that we do. And there's a lot of time that goes into video editing and streaming and all that fun stuff we like to do. It's getting late. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thursday streams are always a lot of fun. What do we have an update? Ban list is either tomorrow or next Friday. We have on Monday coming out. We're going to be starting, I'm pretty sure, hopefully Monday, if not Wednesday, will be the first NPC Montreal Swiss round 1, which is good fun. I think round 1 is, I don't remember off the top. QTM badge me? Yeah, Jenny, I can do it. I already have that set up. I'll do it. Hell yeah. Poke me if I don't. Otherwise, hey, Axu. What was I going to say? On Thursday next week, we might have Pat drop by because he missed today. He's feeling under the weather, so wish him well. If you, I'll message you to remember. Good night. Thank you, Jenny. Good game, by the way. And that's mostly it. We'll be back in a bit. Take care. Thanks for hanging out.